ever going to start this podcast you've been talking about for like forever?
Do you think that anyone will actually want to listen to something like this?
What is your plan for an introduction?
Are you sure you want to talk about these topics? People usually disagree.
3 hours? Are you crazy?
Do you think you're some kind of expert or something?
Are you planning to have an intro song?
What if a bunch of people get really mad and hate you over this?
Do you even know how to make a podcast?
Are you just doing this because you like to argue with people?
Don't let this be just one more thing that you talk about doing, but never actually do.
Wouldn't it be better to do just one episode for each topic?
Stop trying to change people's opinions. Just live your own life.
Dude, people are never going to agree. Just let it go.
Is this going to be a long intro? Because if it is, I'm bored already.
You came back for another one. Thank you. Since you are such an avid listener, I'm going to allow you to be the first to answer a question that has been plaguing me for years. I will never understand the use of snooze bars, or snooze buttons, on alarm clocks. The first thing to say is about the word bar that is used. Apparently, whenever a button is really long, it loses its button status and becomes a bar. Anyway, that's not the real point here. Back to the function of the snooze bar. I know so many people that swear by these things, and it makes no sense. They set their alarms for like 15 minutes before they actually want to wake up, just so they can hit the snooze button 5 or 6 times. Why do people do this? I have had many try to explain this to me, but I'm still confused. Maybe you can help me out, but here's the way I'm seeing it. This is the sane person way. Set the alarm for the actual time that you want to wake up. This way you wake up right at the time that you want to wake up, and your sleep isn't broken apart by constant wakings. Then there's the insane, nuts, ludicrous, doesn't make any sense way, which is to set the alarm for some time frame before the time you actually want to wake up, have the alarm go off before you really want to be awake, just so you can push some button to stop the alarm. Then close your eyes and attempt to fall back asleep. Then once you just about reach the point where you're back asleep again, the alarm goes off again, jarring you out of your slumber. Fortunately, now what you get to do is push that button again, which will stop the alarm again. Then once you just about fall asleep again, the alarm goes off again. You get the picture. And I know people that will do this 5 to 6 times every single morning. Do these people actually believe that they are getting more sleep? Because they're not. That doesn't count as real sleep. If you want to be out of bed by, say, 7, and you set your alarm for 6:45, guess what? As far as your body is concerned, you woke up at 6:45, regardless of how many times you push the magic snoozer button. So here's my advice to all of you that live this way. Come on over to the sane side. Set your alarm for the actual time you want to get out of bed, and then get out of bed at that time. Stop fooling yourself and thinking you are getting more sleep, and start using the method that will give you more sleep. Do it today, or tomorrow if it's already late in the day. Take a stand. Take back your health. Take back your sleep. Don't be a moron about this any longer. You are welcome. Today my guest is Jennifer Silva. Jen owns the restaurant where I work as a second job. I first met her, though, when she was hired on at a different restaurant I worked at way back in like 96 or 97. If you listen to episode 3 of this season, you have already listened to my conversation with her son, Brighton. Jen is constantly on the go, as she is running 3 separate businesses and raising a family. I am thankful that she was able to make some time for me, and it was really fun getting to know her outside of a work setting. I have heard people say that we shouldn't share our personal beliefs and thoughts with those that we work with. But hey, that's exactly what we did. You know why? Because we're rebels. We had a great conversation, and I hope you enjoy it. Things mentioned in this episode are New Kids on the Block, 80s music, white trash-themed parties, Lisa and Cult Jam, Too Short, Pozo, Adele, Alicia Keys, Taylor Swift, Drake, Hip Hop Gets a Pass, Raising Kids, Being Confident versus Being Cocky, Work Ethic, True Crime, Rigged Elections, COVID Lockdowns, Media Bias, The Jab, Trump, Biden, Electric Vehicles, Electoral versus Popular Vote, Mail-in Ballots, Homelessness, Being Raised Catholic, Forgiveness, Judgment, the Bible, Heaven and Hell, the Devil, and Doja Cat. Enjoy the conversation. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hate working on Halloween. Not because it's busy. I mean, I like it when it's busy, but I don't like driving around the streets on Halloween because there's kids everywhere. You know, I mean, even like I had a group of teenagers that I took trick or treating and stuff, my daughter and her friends, and they wanted to drive over to like Woodbury where that big pirate house is, and there's some haunted houses over there and stuff. And even doing that, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to leave my house. Like, you know, if I'm walking around the neighborhood, fine, but I don't want to drive anywhere because I'm like, some kid's going to run out in front of me or whatever. It's just the fears I have.
We get busy pretty early, like from like 4 to about 5:30. It's slammed.
Okay.
And then it dies down real quick because people aren't ordering well. People are out trick-or-treating. So we get it
sense.
right before it gets dark.
Okay.
We get slammed.
So by 7, you guys are done.
Oh, done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
So it's not too bad, but still.
Yeah.
It was nuts. So Caden went trick-or-treating with his friends in Fox and Woods, and then once we were done, I'm like, I'm out of here. Peace, I'm going home.
Right. Yeah. That's a big area too. A lot of kids we were going to go over there too, but we just ended up going over to Woodmere because my aunt lives over there and they got the cool stuff. Did you guys go over there at all?
No. I didn't even go with Caden. Caden went with just friends. He had basketball practice, and then the coach did pizza after.
Oh, nice.
And then the coach took the whole team, dropped them off in Fox and Woods, let him trick or treat for 2 hours, and then went back to pick him up, took him back to his house, and then we picked Caden up from his house at 9.
It was like a sports party. What sport is he playing now? Basketball?
Baseball and basketball.
Oh, this was the baseball team, or
basketball team?
This was the basketball team.
He's on 3 basketball teams right now and a baseball team. So stupid.
That's crazy. Yeah, we quit the sports a long time ago just because it was like. But I mean, it looks like Caden's like really. He's like good.
He's really
and he's into it. Like he might have a future there, you know. So it might be worth it putting the time in. But with us, it was like, you know. And some of our kids were really good at what they were doing, but it was never like, oh, they might go pro one day. You know, it was all just fun. And he actually wants to go pro. Like in what sport?
Baseball.
Baseball. Okay.
Yeah.
That's his favorite.
Yep. He has his baseball training coach in Paso, and then he has his strength and agility coach in Orchid.
Okay.
So, and those both work hand in hand with his baseball.
Okay.
So, and basketball is just fun for him.
Right. And Pat said he's really good at basketball too.
Really good.
But he's pretty short, right? Is he one of the shortest kids out there? Or?
No.
No. Mm-mm. Okay.
I mean, we have our centers that are obviously probably, I mean, they're taller than him, but he's pretty average.
Okay.
He has a lot of shorter kids on his team than him.
Okay. Huh.
So.
Nice.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know.
Someday maybe he'll buy mom and dad a house on the hill somewhere. And
yeah, he said it. He said that we can live with him, but we have to be in the basement. I'm like, oh, okay.
He just wants you to come out every once in a while and cook food or something.
No, that'll be every day.
Yeah, right. Unless he has a maid or something.
Yeah.
Well. If he's really famous. Yeah, so I start with music usually. Are you? I mean, we've talked a little bit at work before. I think
music.
You love music, and we're kind of like from the same. What? How old are you? You're a little bit younger
41.
than me, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So I got 4 years on you, but we're kind of the same area of music. So I like to go with the earliest remembrance of music, like what the first time you ever thought to yourself, "This is awesome. I love this song. I love this singer. I love this band. Whatever."
Okay. Perfect.
So hit it.
Okay. So I would have to say my very first, like, oh my gosh, I love this, was New Kids on the Block.
Okay. Nice.
I mean, let's take it way back.
And you must have been like elementary school when that came out?
Oh yeah.
I think I was
I would
high.
say probably like 3rd, 4th grade.
Okay.
Like that was back when there was VHS tapes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I bought every single one and I would watch it over and over. I would learn every single dance move.
Like their videos, you mean?
Their videos,
okay.
yes.
Nice.
And that was my jam.
That's awesome.
New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, and I never told anybody that one back then because it wasn't cool, especially in junior high, but I did really like their first album, a lot of the songs on it and stuff. But
oh, yeah.
Did you have a favorite member?
Oh, Jordan.
Jordan, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. When I was I remember all the girls when I was at Lakeview, it was either Jordan or Joey.
Yeah.
Those were the two that all the girls liked, you know, and they always talk about how Danny looked like a monkey and you know, they had all this stuff that they would say, you know, and it's like, you know, but it was kind of interesting. Was there a certain like song? What was the first song you heard by them? Do you remember?
Oh gosh, Please Don't Go Girl was probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And then Right Stuff.
Yep.
I mean,
yep.
But I loved all of them.
Yeah.
Literally every song.
But then like after that, they had a second album, Step by Step, I think it was. And it wasn't
as good as
like
the first.
not even close.
Yeah.
Like what happened there? I mean, it was like it just,
I don't know, but their first album I loved.
Yeah, that was one of those, like, every song was great.
Yep.
You know, even those songs that weren't the radio singles were like, oh, this is really cool. You know?
Yeah. And well, I think once they did their second album, they tried to fit into what everybody wanted them to be. And it wasn't as good as the first.
Okay.
Because
Right.
once they did their, you know, when you put your first album out, it's what you think people want to hear.
Right.
And then once you do that, then we get the feedback. Oh, well, you should do this, or you should do that, or this would make it better. Well,
Right.
then the second one wasn't as good as the first.
Right. And did they even have a third one? They had a Christmas album.
I think they did, because then they turned into NKOTB.
Oh, that's right. And that was like quite a bit later, right? That was like 2000s or something.
it was way later.
Back when they realized, hey, we need to make some money. Like, we're not.
Yeah. Well, then they went on tour with the Backstreet Boys.
Okay.
And my sister and I went to that.
Did you really?
Heck yeah.
Where was that at?
In San Jose.
Okay.
Because her era was the Backstreet Boys, and I was the New Kids on the Block.
Right.
So we went
she's
together.
Younger than you?
7 years younger than me.
Okay.
So, and it was a blast.
That's awesome.
It was a blast to
That's
see them
so cool.
out there. Yeah, they're old, but it was still fun. It was still fun.
That's awesome. I think there was a tour. Maybe I'm getting this wrong. I know it was some of the old school people. Like, I know Paula Abdul. I want to say it was like Paula Abdul. Maybe I thought it was New Kids on the Block also. Bethany wanted to go, and then she ended up not going. But it was like a bunch of people like that, like 90s, like just pop stars from the 90s that nobody remembers.
I would have
like,
been all over
tour.
that.
Yeah, I don't remember. I want to say they played down in LA or San Diego, somewhere down there. But yeah, that's so funny.
Well, next time they do it, tell Bethany to call me, and I will go.
You guys will go. Oh man, yeah, she would love that. Paula Abdul was like her favorite growing up.
Oh yeah, she was great.
Yeah. So just awesome stuff. Yeah, I mean, for me, 90s is. I mean, I've said it so many times on this show, but like 90s is hands down the best, you know. But I wonder if that's just because of that time in your life, like, you know, because I have a friend who's like in his 70s, and he's like, no, Ryan, the 60s is the best music, and it's like, well, that's because that's when you were like in high school, right? You know, it's like that's kind of prime time of life, you know, and it's like you have all these memories with certain music, but like. I don't know if it's just that, but I mean, it's like 90s music has a sound, just like 80s music does, 70s music. Like, it's just sound there, and it's like you listen to it and you just know.
Yeah.
You know?
My favorite's the 80s.
Okay.
On any given day, put the 80s on.
Like 80s, like kind of new wave, kind of like.
Any.
Okay.
I mean, I can take the 80s rap, 80s R&B.
Okay.
I can do 80s, I mean, you name it, I can go for it. The classic rock, I mean, I just
all 80s.
Yeah, if you come into work on any given day, you're probably going to be listening to 80s.
Yeah, well, and that's what you were playing when I was there the one day with I forgot what the song was, but it was something I remember I knew it, and like, of course, all the young kids are like, what is this?
Oh, absolutely.
And I was like, what in the world? You know? Yeah, I love 80s too. We did Bethany had her 40th birthday. And I think maybe it was her 41st now. I think we had to postpone it because of COVID. But we had it at the roller skating rink. And it was an 80s themed party. And it was all like, I'll have to show you a picture.
Oh, how fun.
But yeah, we dressed up. And I had like the curly wig on and like the knee socks and the whole deal. And, and she was all dressed up. And my daughter's kids dressed up. And it was a blast. But how
fun. I've never thought to do a birthday party at the
it was fun.
Rink.
Yeah, because you can rent it out. And it's not that expensive. And, you know, you can give her your playlist.
Oh, wow.
So I gave her a bunch of songs. Here's our 80s playlist. And she played that the whole time. And then we had probably 30, 40 people there. And it was a blast.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it was so fun.
I said really this last year, 41, that was the last birthday party I'm doing.
There
might be a 42nd one at the roller skating rink now.
There you go, yeah. Well, I just saw you guys did Barbie and Ken. Was that just for a party? Or was that?
That was my 41st
That was
birthday.
your birthday. Okay.
Yeah. We
nice.
did a Barbie theme. It was fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you just have it at the house, or did you go?
At a friend's house.
At a friend's house, okay.
They did the birthday party for me, but we built the Barbie shadow box, picture box, so people could get in there and take pictures.
Yeah.
And we went all out. So it was fun.
That's awesome. That's cool that Pat's fun enough to do that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. I love theme parties.
Yeah.
They're always fun. We've done white trash theme parties.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Cars on the front yard, barbecue pit out there going.
Awesome.
The whole...
You gotta wear like wife beaters and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. We served fish sticks, tater tots.
Nice.
The cake was built out of like ding dongs and ho hos and like all that
a hostess cake.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yes.
So as far as, give me some 80s like specific favorites as far as groups.
Oh,
or singers.
For sure, Lisa and Nicole Jam.
Okay.
Like that's my go-to.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, like who else? Gosh, I'm drawing a blank here.
Yeah.
Like who sings Lady in Red? Whoever that is. I love that
I don't remember.
song.
He's kind of a one-hit wonder. Because that was in that movie, right?
But I love
that's a good one.
That's a great song. Oh goodness. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, it's just more of like put on Pandora and just kind of.
Yes.
Because the thing about the 80s, it's a lot of one-hit wonders.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
And then there's the Aha Take on Me.
Oh yeah.
Love that song.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I put on Pandora when I'm at work and I just let it rip.
Yeah.
And then there's Belle Biv DeVoe.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's classic.
Yep. And then there's like Billy Joel, Uptown Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Love that song.
Yep.
But I just literally put on Pandora and just let it go.
Yeah.
And every song that comes on, there's Careless Whisper, like.
Oh, by Wham. Mm-hmm. Yeah, George Michael. Yeah.
There's a ton of them.
Yeah.
But I just 80s, if it just gets me going.
Yeah. Is there
if I need to get pumped up, then okay, we're gonna go with like rap or something.
Right.
But for sure.
So what kind of rappers from then are you into? Because that's kind of what I grew up on. A lot of that early rap stuff. 80s, 90s kind of stuff.
80s, 90s. I mean, I love Too Short.
Okay. He was my favorite.
Yes, I love Too Short.
I wanted to be a pimp when I was a kid because that was my ambitions. Like I'm gonna grow up and move to Oakland and be a pimp.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
I think Getting It by Too Short was like the first rap song that I ever learned the entire song to.
Okay.
And now my kids love it.
Yeah.
I can put that on and they know the whole song too.
Right. Right.
But yeah, for definitely Too Short was my go-to.
He just played somewhere not that far, or he's gonna play somewhere not too far. I saw E40 just played at Avila.
E40.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I can never get into him, but I saw him playing at Avila. I told Brighton because I think he's a fan, but he said he wasn't going to go though.
Oh.
I guess he's not that big of a fan.
Not that big. I mean, we've seen back in the day when Pozo used to have concerts out there. I mean, we've seen a lot of rappers out there.
Okay.
Which they don't do that anymore, but that was super fun. But yeah, we've seen E40 out there. We've seen Too Short out there.
Oh, you've seen him live before?
Snoop has been out there.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen any of those guys. I don't think I've ever been to a hip hop show, to be honest with you. It's been a long time. All the shows I've been to, mostly punk shows is what I've been to, but I've been to a couple of just rock shows and this stuff. But yeah, I don't think I've ever been to.
Those were the days back there.
Yeah.
Going out to Pozo.
Did you go see Ice Cube when he played at the fair? Was that last year or a couple years ago?
No.
Okay.
But we've seen Ice Cube out at Pozo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pozo used to be the go-to.
Yeah, I remember
back in the day.
Yeah, is it closed now? Do they not do it anymore?
Oh yeah, they closed it years ago.
Oh, bummer.
I probably had 8 or 9 years.
Not because of COVID or anything. It was just.
Oh no, it was way before that.
Okay.
I'm sure it had to do with drinking and driving and.
Yeah. Well, plus if there's always like a lot of fights and stuff, it's like people they don't want to let you use their venue anymore. You know, I mean, it's like a few people ruin it for everybody kind of thing. Yep. You know, and when there's always. I don't know. I feel like when there's too much drinking going on, that usually leads to that. That's why there's always bar fights and stuff because people can't just hang out. You know, there's always that one guy's got to get drunk and be stupid.
Oh, there was always.
Yeah,
we'd sit there and just people watching. We'd be like, "Oh, here we go," and then the girls would start fighting.
Oh, right.
Forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I'm too old for that.
Right.
I probably wouldn't go even if it was still open.
Yeah. Because I could see you doing that back in the day. You probably got into some fights.
No, never.
You've never been in a fight? You're kidding?
No, I
really?
Swear, never.
No way.
I've never been in a fight.
Okay. You seem like a scrapper to me.
I've never been in a fight because Patrick has always been like, "Get over here."
Oh, he keeps you back.
He keeps me in
gotcha.
Keeps me in check.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Absolutely.
That's good. Okay.
Absolutely. Cool. When he hears this, he will laugh.
Yeah.
Because there's been plenty of times.
Yeah. That's funny. All right. So what about, so we talked about a genre, you'd say 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's kind of its own genre, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 80s music. How about the most influential band or artist of all? Like something that impacted your life beyond just music?
Wow, that's hard to say. I mean, I think there's a lot of artists. I love Adele. I mean, I feel like she has been around the block and sings about it, and it can be very impactful to women.
Yeah.
I think Alicia Keys is another one.
Yep.
When she speaks, it's just like you just want to sit and listen.
Right.
And then it transfers over into her music.
Right. So for those two, it's like more lyrically, you like their
absolutely.
lyrics are moving too. Okay.
Absolutely. And then there's Taylor Swift.
Okay.
I think Taylor Swift can pretty much tap into any age, whether it's young.
Oh yeah.
I mean, our age, older.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Taylor Swift, as you know.
Yes.
Brighton and I talked about it on our episode, but and my older daughter's the one that got me into it.
Oh yeah.
So we always talk about Taylor Swift.
Yep. I think she's a wonderful person.
Yeah.
And then obviously her music's great.
Right. Do you have a favorite era? Like, do you like her earlier country or stuff, or do you like?
I loved her first album, her country album that she came out with
like Tim McGraw and some of those. Okay.
I love that album. When she decided to go more pop, I was kind of like, but then obviously it grew on me.
Right. At first you're like, what are you doing? And then you listen to it, you hear like 1989, you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Yes.
You're actually really good at this.
1989 is probably my favorite album.
Yeah, me too.
My favorite album.
Me too. Yep.
And now she's redoing all of her music and Taylor's version.
Right. Which I have a hard time with. Only because I get used to the first version and then you hear a new one and it's like, oh, it's different. There's something wrong here.
Yeah, there's only a couple that I'm like, ooh, I think I like this better than the original.
Right. And I like the new songs that she's putting out, which is cool because then you get a whole new something you haven't heard before.
Yeah, I just think that she is just very talented.
Oh, totally.
She can't dance.
Right.
But her music's great.
Right. Did you get to the Eras tour or?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. I wish I would have been able to, but I'm just a little too busy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not like you're running like 3 businesses.
No, not at all.
And a family. I mean, come on, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I even wanted to go to see it in the theater, and I had tickets. And,
the movie.
Yeah,
okay.
and I had tickets, and I got rid of them because, of course, last minute, everything.
Someone called in or something, and you had to.
Caden had his first junior high dance, and so I wanted to take him to that.
Yeah.
And then with just work, it didn't work out.
Right.
But I'm hoping to go at least see it in the movie theater at some point.
Right.
Right. But yeah, I didn't get to the concert.
Go. Yeah. Bethany went with her mom and Laura, my oldest daughter, and they went, and then with Bethany's aunt. So the 4 of them went to the one, I think down in LA area. Mm-hmm. I don't remember specifically where it was, but and Bethany's not a huge, like, she likes Taylor Swift, but she's not like my daughter's huge.
Yeah.
Like, Taylor Swift's the best thing to ever exist, and but Bethany's not so much. But she was really impressed with the performance,
I'm
the visuals and the way the whole stage was set up. I mean, which is why you can make a movie about a concert, right? If a concert is that visually stimulating, it's like, okay, we can put this in a movie and people actually kind of want to watch it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, she said, you know, and you talk about her dancing, and there's the thing at the end. I forgot the song. I don't know if I heard it. There's a song that she does towards the end where it's very provocative dancing, and it was that was one of the things where like Bethany's like, I don't know, but it's kind of weird to be sitting next to your daughter, I guess, when you're like that, even though my daughter's married and stuff, but
still,
it's just it's just that kind of that awkwardness, right? Things. Yeah, it's just not quite, but yeah, I think 1989 is definitely my favorite of her albums.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't know why. I mean, Reds, they're all good. They're all really good. I even like the newer. I haven't heard, I'm still behind. I got to get the newer ones. I haven't heard Midnights yet.
Oh, I have Midnights.
Other than the couple, my daughter showed me a couple songs, but I haven't heard it like the whole album.
The whole album, yeah.
Because I like to listen to an album front to back, because I feel like the whole thing is like a product. You know, it's kind of, which most kids don't do that now.
Yeah.
They're just like Spotify, you know, I'll listen to a playlist or I'll listen to whatever. It's like, you're missing it. You're missing the whole point.
Yeah.
It's just a bummer. But, okay. So how about, so we did most influential, but what about like most, like recently? Cause like for you and I, especially cause we're in our 40s and we look back to we say, oh, this is my prime time. Most of my favorite bands are back in here. But for me, even now, today, occasionally there's something new that will come out. It doesn't happen very often, but there's something new that will come out like, oh my gosh, I got to buy everything that they've ever done. You know, do you have anything like that that's like recent, like in the last couple of years, or?
I wouldn't necessarily say. I mean, again, I think maybe Drake.
Okay.
Drake, I like.
Okay.
He's really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's newer to me.
Sure.
I mean, I know that he's had albums, but I would say in the last like maybe 2 years, I really started to listen to him, obviously because I have older kids. Right. And now the 13-year-old listens to what the older ones listen to. So they'll put something on and I'm like, what is this? Yeah. Who is this? Like, I like this beat. What? Like, they're like, oh, this is Drake. I'm like, oh.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, who is this Drake? So then you start going through all of his songs, and it's like, ooh, I like this.
Okay. He's new to me too, even though he's not new.
Yeah, correct.
But Brighton will play it at work or whatever, and I'll listen and go, well, who's this? And he'll tell me. Like, I don't think I ever heard a Drake song until I started working over there.
Yeah, I mean, I like him because yes, he's rap, but I don't feel like he's like hardcore gangster rap to where like you put it on, you're like, oh, we need to change this. Like we can't be listening to this right now. Right. So I think that like he's kind of the middle of the road. Okay.
As far as content, you mean he's not?
Yeah.
He's not as like profane as some of the other ones.
Correct.
Okay.
But it's still catchy enough, and he has a beat to where it's like it can get you going. Right. You know.
It's almost kind of singy, right? Does he sing and rap?
Yes. It's kind of like a singy, like yes, correct.
Yeah. Some of the songs I've heard, and I'll ask him and he'll say Drake. I was like, well, this isn't even rap. Like this is correct. So I was kind of surprised by that. I thought he was just a rapper, but
yeah, because there's some stuff that the kids listen to these days, and I'm like, what in the world is this?
Right. Like, because of like the content or because of the sound?
The content.
Okay.
The content.
Okay, so so is it like for you, like is it like an abundance of, let's say, F-bombs, or is it more like sexual stuff? Like what is it to you that makes you say, okay, that's crossing the line?
The language. Okay. It is sexual. Okay. I mean, a lot of it's about drugs. Right. And killings, violence. I mean, for baseball, for Caden's team, they do walk-up songs. And every now and then...
I don't know what that means.
So, like, when they're walking up to the plate, they play, whatever their song of choice is.
Each batter has his own theme song.
So it'll say, now batting, Caden awesome. Silva, number 2. Yeah. And then a song comes on.
Okay. That's cool. Well, that's got to get them pumped up. That's probably why.
That's why. Yeah. So, last tournament... You get a text message like, we're updating walk-up songs as your player want a new song. Caden, what do you want? And he came back with some song, and I'm like, I don't even know what this song is, right? Right. So I send it to the person.
Before previewing it?
And I send it because I'm like getting ready to like go to work. And so I get in the car and I put it on, and I'm like, I had to text the person back and go, I am so sorry. I've never heard of this song in my life. Right. Obviously, we need the clean version because this is not it. Right. And then when I picked him up from school, I'm like, where in the world did you hear this song? He's like, everybody knows that song. Right. I'm like, oh no.
Do you know what the song was? Do you remember?
I'm sure
I'm curious. Yeah, I want to know what the song was.
I'm sure I could find it for you because I was just like, this is not it, child.
Oh, man. That's too funny.
It was Runnin' by 21 Savage.
Never heard of it.
I didn't even know who 21 Savage was.
I don't either. Yeah, is that a rap group?
It's a rap, I guess.
Or maybe a rapper.
It's a rapper or rap group. I don't know.
21 Savage. Okay.
But Runnin'.
And it was a little too savage.
Too savage. For a 13-year-old, I thought, dear Lord, who are your parents raising you?
Yeah, right.
Because that's not me.
But I imagine that, right, like... The people that are gonna play it for the whole stands and the whole team and all the parents and everybody that's there, I imagine they preview them first, right? I mean,
Well,
I don't think they just put it on.
Well, it's an app, so you do it through an app.
Okay.
There's like an app for these walk-up songs.
Right.
And you put the song in, and it'll give you if it exists, it'll give you the clean version.
Oh, okay.
So it takes out any bad words or anything that shouldn't be said.
Right.
Out in public.
Okay.
But still.
Yeah.
If somebody's like, "Ooh, what is that song?" and then they go and find it, well, dear Lord, they're probably thinking, "What's this kid listening to?"
Right.
But yeah, so some of the rap, it's pretty crazy.
Right. Well, and I know that like this is something that's always fascinated me too. Like I mean, when I grew up listening to NWA and Eazy and Too Short, like obviously they're not clean.
Well, no.
I mean, Too Short was very derogatory against women, and that's something that's kind of always existed in rap. Mm-hmm. But what I find fascinating is there's so many people that get so mad and offended by let's use Trump as an example. Trump, they pull some clip from Trump's past where he says women like you to grab him by the you know what, and they're all up in arms like this guy should die. He's Satan. He's horrible. Yet those same people will pop in a rap album where the whole song is completely about disrespecting women, treating them as sex objects, beating them up, all this stuff, and that's totally fine to them. Like I cannot, my brain cannot wrap around the deal there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. It's almost like hip hop gets a pass.
Oh, absolutely.
For some reason. And I've had people tell me, oh, it's just because that's the culture and that's the way they're brought up. It's like, so what? You could say the same thing about Trump. Maybe he was brought up to believe women are that way or that whatever. Mm-hmm. But you guys are all over him. Oh, that's because Trump's this. Okay. You're missing my point.
Double standards.
Right.
Double standards is what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I see a lot of these hip hop songs as way worse than what Trump said.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not condoning what Trump said, but I mean, whatever. I mean, he's talking to a friend or whatever, and these rappers like they're writing songs, they're writing the lyrics on paper, they're recording them into things. It's not like they're just like talking to a friend and just casually, like they're purposely putting this stuff out to the world, you know, and it's like, wow.
But I think people think that that's like their job. That's their job to produce the music, and whatever they're singing about, it's acceptable. It's okay.
Right.
Because
it's rap.
Because it's rap.
Right, but if like a heavy metal band came out with the exact same lyrics, they would get.
Oh no, correct.
They'd be gone.
Absolutely.
Their album would be pulled from the shelves. Nobody's allowed to buy this anymore. Yeah.
Absolutely. So then when you have Trump saying something like that, it's a double standard because he shouldn't be speaking that way.
Right.
He's a figure to everybody.
Right.
Versus, oh, well, they're just a rap group. Go ahead.
Oh, I see. So he's in a higher state of prominence because he's the president.
He's the president, yeah.
So it's like he should have higher standards.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I think that's where people come from. Sure. You know, like, oh, it's okay to rap about it because that's their job, but he's the president. He probably shouldn't be saying this.
Right.
But at the end of the day,
right.
It's the same platform. It's the same thing.
Yes. And if he's up doing the inaugural address or something, and he says, and just so everybody knows, I think we should all start grabbing women, and it's like that would be different than like them pulling some soundbite from like however long ago, 20 years ago or whatever that was. You know, it's just. Obviously it's for slander. They're trying to find some way.
And that's politics for you.
Exactly.
They're going to find anything and everything that they can on you to use it and hold it against you.
Right. Exactly. So, and I guess that's just the nature of the beast, but
absolutely.
Yeah, so funny. All right, top 5 time.
Ooh.
Top 5. Okay. It doesn't matter. It can be a band, singer, artist, group.
In no particular order. Girl on Fire by Alicia Keys.
Okay. That's an album and a song, right?
You're correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the song.
Okay.
The song.
Gotcha.
Forever Young by Jay-Z.
Okay.
Live Your Life by T.I.
Okay. I don't know if I've heard any of these, but we're good.
The House That Built Me by Miranda Lambert.
Okay. That's country, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And The Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Okay, so I know that's Pat's favorite Michael Jackson song too.
Yes.
Is there a history there? Do you guys share that or something? Is that some kind of it's just you guys.
I don't know what his reasoning behind it.
We always used to laugh at him at the ranch because he would sing that to himself.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like that is his. When I first met him and started dating him, actually, he would blare that and he would rock out to that. Like that was his jam.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no. It has nothing to do with him.
And was he already working out there when you? No, because he was still at.
He was working out there when I started dating him.
Oh, he did? Okay, but you guys met at the pizza place, right?
Yep, so we met, I don't even know how old I was, probably 15 or 16.
Okay.
We met at the pizza place.
Right.
And then we lost contact for probably a couple years.
Oh, okay.
And then when I was 17, I randomly, in a roundabout ways, got back in contact with him, but he was already working out at the ranch at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Funny. Yeah, because I remember, I remember when you worked at Arnaldi's, and I remember you coming in as were you in-house?
Yep.
Okay. And I remember that, because we had in-house girls just, coming. It was a rotating door around there. It was always, they wouldn't stay long usually, and who knows, probably because they couldn't cash their paychecks or whatever. I don't know if that was still going on when you were there or not, but
I got paid cash under the table.
Oh, there you go. Oh, because like your mom knew Pat or something, right? Weren't they friends? Okay, that's right. See, all this comes back as we talk about it. But I do remember that. And now you kind of had a crush on him when you first started there, yes?
I did, yes.
Okay, because that's what I remember.
I
remember we were giving him a hard time because you were younger than him.
Correct. So, yes, I think we both liked each other. Okay. But I had a boyfriend, he had a girlfriend.
Okay.
And I was younger.
Yeah.
And he would tell me, when you turn 18, I promise you that I'm going to date you. And
I'm
like, I'm like, whatever.
He just didn't want to get in trouble.
Correct.
Yeah.
And not to mention that when he would deliver pizzas to our house, he would see the address come up and he would deliver that pizza.
Oh, really?
And my mom, he'd knock at the door. My mom would say, you stay back. I'll get the door. And because my mom knew.
Man,
and so
awesome.
she would tell him, you stay away from her. She's too young for you. And he's like, yes, ma'am. So once I turned 17, do you remember Stinky's Grill?
Yes.
So he went in there one night and my girlfriend was working and she called me that night and she goes, some guy came in here and he was asking about you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, who was it? She goes, some guy named Pat. And I'm like, Pat Silva? And she goes, yeah, I think so. She goes, he gave me his phone number and said to give it to you.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I'm like, okay.
So he must have knew she was your friend. Okay.
So the next day, I called him. And I was at school. I was going to school, and he was already up. And that's back when there was open campus.
Okay.
Because there's no open campus anymore for lunch. And so I had met him for lunch, and
the rest is history.
The rest was history.
Okay. So he didn't wait till you were 18?
No.
Were you at least almost 18? Or were you in your senior year of high school? Or
senior year in high school.
Okay.
So almost.
Yeah.
Almost 18.
And he was probably what, 20, 21?
I was 17. He was 20.
20, okay. Yeah. That's about the difference between me and my wife. So she's about your age then. She was born 1980.
I was 82.
82, okay. So she's a little older. Yeah. I think she just turned 43.
Yeah.
But there's about 2.5, 3 year difference between us. So
yeah. We're about 3.5.
Yeah. Yeah. And Bethany was 15 when I met her.
Yeah.
And I was 18.
Yep.
And I lied to her about my age at first because I was scared. I told her I was 17, Not that I really thought it was going to go anywhere. I don't think either one of us did because she lived in Napomo when we met. And we had met, and then like a month later, her parents moved to San Diego. And I come to find out later, one of the reasons they moved to San Diego was to get away from me.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, because they kind of saw, even though we had known each other for a little while, it was there was something there, I guess. I mean, I'm sure that wasn't the only reason, but it was probably a benefit.
A benefit, yeah.
Yeah, just say, okay, this guy's an older guy, and whatever. But when she moved, we broke up. We're like, we're not going to do. I mean, this is ridiculous. You're moving 5 hours away. We're not going to do the long distance thing, and we just said our goodbyes, and then. On the drive, on the move, they left and they stopped for gas somewhere in LA, I think, or whatever. And she calls me from a payphone and she's like, I want to try to make this work. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And then so we did the long distance thing for a while, and then I was 19. She was 17 when she got pregnant with our first. And then she ended up moving back here, and then and that's just kind of the way it went,
we have similar stories.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, because when I first started dating Patrick, he didn't tell me that he got into San Diego State.
Okay.
And he told me 3 weeks before he was leaving.
Oh no!
To go to college.
Why? Because he was scared you were going to be so upset about it.
Well, I think he said that he was scared that if he told me earlier on that I probably wouldn't have dated him.
Oh, okay.
Because I would have probably been like, oh, well, you're
Right.
leaving. Like, what's
And
the
he had
point
been
of
waiting
this?
all these years.
All these
He didn't
years.
want to ruin it now.
Correct. So he told me 3 weeks before he was leaving, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Right.
So we did the long distance thing.
You stayed here and he was in San Diego for what, a couple years?
No,
Okay.
not even that long, because I got pregnant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So at that point in time, I had got pregnant, so I started doing independent study. So
Okay.
I only had to check into school like one day a week.
Were you still in high school?
It was my senior year.
Yeah, Bethany too. Yeah, she was pregnant in her senior year.
Yep. So then I would go down to San Diego, stay there for like 5 or 6 days, come back here, turn in my schoolwork, get my new stuff, hang out with my mom, my grandma for a day, then go back down. So I was like going back and forth.
Right.
But yeah, we had our first one when I was 18.
Okay.
Got married when when I was 19, and then I had my second when I was 20.
Okay.
And then our third when I was 29.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Been a long time.
Well, we're almost the same. Like, I think, Bethany was 18, I was 20 when Alora was born. And then Aiden came along maybe 3 years later. I think Alora was 2.5 or 3 when Aiden was born. And then we had a little bit of a gap because our next one, I'm trying to figure out. So Aiden's 21, 22, and Addie's 15.
Okay.
So about a 7-year gap. And then we had Addie, and then we had Asher a couple years after Addie. But yeah, we were done. I mean, because Alora came along so unexpectedly. We were not planning on being parents. Like, obviously, we had no intentions of being parents, and it was like, okay, here we go. Because even back then, I mean, neither one of us were religious. We weren't into any of that at that time. But for whatever reason, we were both adamantly against abortion, even though there were people in our lives that were kind of pushing for that. Like, you're too young. This is going to ruin your life. You're going to be, you have school to go. You're going to have to get rid of all this. And it's like, no, we're not doing that. Like, we didn't plan on this, but we did the act, right? It wasn't like it just came out of the sky. I mean, we played the game, and this is what happened, And so we just did that, and then it was just kind of went from there, you know. And then we thought, okay, we're just gonna have the one, and then we decided to have another one, and then even after we go, one boy, one girl. We're good. We're good to go. That's, we're pretty much like, two's good. We don't need to have more kids. And then, but neither one of us got any kind of operations or anything to solidify that, of course. And then a couple years later, Addie came along, and it's like, okay, here we go again. Now that, it's funny because you look at it, it's like the older two were pretty self-sufficient at that time. And it's like, here, let's do this all over again. We're done with diapers. We're done with late night feedings. We're done with all of this. Hey, let's do it again. Yeah, why not? So
that's so funny.
Yeah. But of course, now we look at it and there's like, I can't imagine it any other way. Because, as you know, all our kids are blessings in different ways. And, it's kind of cool having 2 adults and 2 youngers at the same. So you have 2 adults and 1 younger.
Brighton's 22. Leah will be 21 in 2 months, and then Caden's 13.
Okay. Yeah.
So, we had Brighton obviously unexpectedly, like you said.
Right.
And I remember my mother and my grandmother sitting me down and going like, you can't do this.
Right.
Like, you're too young. And I thought, well, I don't know what to tell you, but this is my life. Like you said, we screwed up.
Right.
But this is what we're doing.
Right.
Like, there's no looking back. There's no anything. Like, this is where we're going with this.
Right.
And so then they said, well, then you need to get married. I said, I am going to have a baby, and that in itself is enough. I don't need to try to figure out how to be a mother and be a wife.
And a wife, yeah.
I can't do all that at the same time. Like, forget that.
Now, who was pushing for marriage? Like, your parents or like...
My grandmother and my mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that like for religious reasons, or were they? Is this kind of old fashioned?
I just think old fashioned. Okay. Like, you. It's just
what you do.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have a kid with this person, you're gonna marry this person. And it was like, absolutely not. Like, I understand that that's the way you were brought up and how you were raised, but for myself, like, I'm already doing this backwards.
Right.
So
exactly. What you were not supposed to do before marriage already happened. So like, why try to cover that up now by making it happen?
So I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna make that mistake and have to deal with that on top of already being a young parent.
Right.
So so we got married when we wanted to, and then next thing you know, I was pregnant again. Okay. And all I could do was call Pat and just laugh.
Yeah. You're like, you're not gonna believe this.
No, I couldn't even say. There were no words that came out.
Oh, really?
He said hello, and I was just
laughing
hysterically.
Nice. Is that because you just had a mental break? You think? You just kind of lost your
And he
mind?
was like, "What is going on?" And I couldn't even talk. And he goes, "Are you pregnant?"
No way, that's what he said. My thought would have been, are you on drugs? Are you drunk? What's going on? You know?
He said, "Are you pregnant?" And I could barely get out the word yes.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, "All right.
Here we go.
Here we go." And those two kids, I'm telling you, they're just so mellow and well behaved. I've never had any issues.
They've both always been that way?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Very good head on their shoulders.
Right.
And then we have the third. And I thought, holy hell. Why didn't I stop when I was ahead? Because this one is just...
Yeah. He's a handful, huh?
He's a handful.
Okay.
Very strong-willed.
Yeah. You think that's like inherent? Like it's just part of his personality? Or is it because maybe you think you and Pat were different parents with him? Or
no.
Were you, okay.
So we parent all our kids the same.
Okay.
Personality.
Okay. Just born with it.
He was just born with it. And he's that kid. You got to pick and choose your battles.
Right. Right.
I mean, he just...
Yeah.
He has straight A's.
Right.
He manages all of his sports.
Yeah. He seems very confident. Like I don't know him hardly at all. Like, but he'll come in the restaurant sometimes, and I've never met the guy, but he'll always give me a fist bump, you know, or whatever. And he's just like, he just seems very confident in himself, which is a good thing, in a sense, right? I mean, not cocky, but he seems very okay with who he is.
He's,
you know what I mean?
Very okay with who he is, and we have to parent that different because, like you said, there's being confident in who you are.
Yeah.
Versus being too confident and having a chip on your shoulder and being cocky.
Yes.
So we have to sometimes bat them down a little, you know, like, yes, you are great at what you do. Yes, you do get great grades. But at the same time, that doesn't give you the right to think that you are better than anybody else.
Right, exactly.
So, but yes,
even if you are, that doesn't give you the right to feel like you are.
No,
right?
absolutely not.
Yeah.
So he's just a handful.
That's funny. That's awesome. Now, when you guys had him, was there any thought in your mind of having a fourth, or were you guys like, okay, this is it? We're good with
well, once I had Brighton and Mia, I didn't want any more.
Okay, so he was kind of a surprise.
No, the first two were surprises. Okay. He was the only planned one.
Okay,
he was the only planned one.
Okay.
So, like, I don't know, 8 years later, I thought, well, I think I want one more. Now that, like, I'm old enough to really enjoy being a parent, not that I didn't enjoy it the first time.
Right, but it's different when you're still a kid yourself.
Correct.
You know?
You're growing up with your kids.
Right.
So you're a kid with them, and they're growing up with you, and you're trying to just survive. I think, honestly, you're trying to survive.
Right.
How to be a mom, how to be a wife, how to be a caretaker in your home, how to make money, like juggling jobs. You know, Pat would work all day, come home, and when he got home, I'd work at nighttime.
Oh, wow. That's
so
rough.
it was like the kids and I during the day, and then Pat at nighttime with the kids.
So they hardly ever had the both of you together.
Correct.
Except maybe the weekends or something.
Maybe if I didn't work.
Right.
So you're just trying to like get through, and then you look back and you're like, wow, they're already 5 and 7. Like we're in the time go.
Right.
So then I thought, well, now that I'm older, I think I might want one more to where I can really enjoy like having a baby and going through all of these things.
Right.
And Patrick said, I'm not doing it. He said, I'm not doing it. He goes, I feel with 2 kids, if I had to work at McDonald's, I could work at McDonald's and still provide for a family.
Right.
With 2 kids. He goes, a third one, he's like, I can't do it.
Right.
So I went to work one day, and at work we ordered Chinese food, and I opened up my fortune cookie, and it said that like in the next 30 days, like your wish is going to come true or something like that. Wow. So, and I kept it, and I took it home, and I said, this is telling me that we need to try for just one more. And he goes, I'll give you 30 days.
Really?
And I said, great. I'll take it.
Okay.
Boom. pregnant.
Really? So he meant he'll give you 30 days, no protection, no nothing, just see what happens.
Yep. And so I said, great, I'll take it.
And he's going, oh man.
So then when I came back and I was like, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
He's like, you're kidding me. And I'm like, no. I go, see, the fortune cookie, it was meant to happen.
Yeah,
and he was
awesome.
like, this is ridiculous. So I had Caden, and from getting pregnant all the way to having him was just a disaster, the whole pregnancy. Really? And so at that time we said that's it. Okay. Because I thought, like, if we have one more right now, we might want another one. Right. So they can have somebody to grow up with, play with. But the pregnancy was just a disaster. So I said, scratch that. We're
and the
done.
first two were pretty not
Piece
so bad.
Of cake.
Okay.
Piece of cake.
Okay. Like, did you have just complications? Like, was he breech? Was he?
Well, I got put on bed rest early on, maybe like when I was 5 months pregnant.
Oh no!
I was put on bed rest. Went into early labor at about 7 months. Had to go to the hospital, get the shot, so it would like take me back out of labor.
Right.
It was just.
Oh man.
Yeah. The whole thing.
Okay.
Getting my epidural, the doctor numbed me from here up.
Yeah.
So like my arms and my head and my face, like that was numb, not
the part that should be.
Correct. Just the whole thing was a disaster. So I'm like, you know what? This is God telling me you're done.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
So,
okay.
Yes.
And then like you think like with Mia, I've never met Mia. Mm-hmm. All I know of her is what Brighton tells me. Mm-hmm. And he says that she's really funny and that he kind of describes her like, I don't know, like kind of like him in a sense, but like they're really close and like I don't know. So
yeah,
I mean,
they're 17 months apart.
Okay.
So they're super close in age, and they're really they weren't close until she moved away to go to college.
Oh, okay.
And that really brought them together.
Right.
So she's super chill like Brighton.
Okay.
Easy come, easy go, but her personality is. She's super spunky and witty.
Okay.
Like you give her, like you tell her something, she's got to come back like that.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I'm just like, where do you get that? Like, where did you think of that? She's like, I don't know. It just came out. It just came out. Okay. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
But yes, she's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's at Texas Tech.
Right.
Far away from here, but
which sucks, but for now.
But she's doing so good. Yeah. Straight A's.
Okay.
Straight A's. She's getting her degree in public relations.
Okay.
With an emphasis on sports.
Okay.
So she'll probably stay in the Texas area.
Okay.
Because obviously there's a lot of big sporting teams there.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And you guys are all obviously you're a very sport family. All your kids are into it. You and Pat are both into it. Obviously. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's kind of cool. Does she have plans to stay in Texas or?
Yes.
Okay.
She'll never come back here.
Okay. Yeah.
She misses home, but she gets here and after a week she's like, California sucks.
Well, she misses her family. It's probably not that she misses California.
Correct.
She just misses that you guys are here.
Correct.
So does she hope someday that you guys will move there or?
Yeah, we will. I don't think we'll ever move there completely. I think in the next couple years, we'll probably buy a house there. Okay. So we can kind of go back and forth.
There you go.
When we want to.
Yeah.
So we can spend more time out there.
Okay.
But right now we're just.
Yeah.
We're busy.
Oh yeah.
We're busy.
For sure. Yeah, you're crazy is what you are. That's what I keep thinking to myself. I was like, seeing you when you started the third one, I was like, what? Like you just opened this deli and it's like now you're doing another business? It's like, man.
Well, I bought Ricky's and then it ran itself.
Right.
And then once I made the changes that I wanted to, I get bored.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, well, now what am I going to do?
Right.
So that's when I started Lovey's Deli to maximize the space that I had to bring in more revenue.
Yeah, because Ricky's lunchtime was crap.
Correct.
Right.
Because, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to order a large pizza and go sit down and eat a big old pizza for lunch.
Right. It's only if it's like a slice of pizza and a soda for some price. There's always those kind of deals you can get, right? But
and I just I tried to get that lunch crowd, but I think that Ricky's was such a staple for so long, and it's known for pizza for dinner. Mm-hmm. To try to change the public's mind and wrap it around something new, it just didn't land.
Right.
And Lovey's is doing well, right? I mean,
Lovey's is outperforming Ricky's.
I bet. Yeah.
So that's when I started Lovey's Deli. And I didn't think that it would, I mean, I knew it would do okay.
Right.
But now it like has taken off like wildfire.
Yeah.
Lovey's is actually being served in Chumash Casino now.
Yeah, Brighton was telling me that the other day.
Yes, in the cafe and on the beverage carts.
And that's a couple days a week, right?
Yes.
So that's a lot more work for you guys, but awesome because it's a revenue that's going to come in consistently.
Well, that and it's getting the name out there to, I mean, it's the same people that go to the casino all the time.
Right.
And most of them are local.
Yeah.
So just to get the name out there, the brand, the recognition is huge.
Yeah. So is it like they just say, give us 50 of these kind, 50 of these kind?
Yeah, so
like
they
just
serve
some of the standard ones, or
I kind of created a special menu for them.
Okay.
Just because Lovey's is known for really big sandwiches and for all the homemade sauces that we put on the sandwiches.
Right.
And with that, you can't really put the sauces on the sandwiches for them because they're going to get soggy.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of created a little bit of a different menu for them. Mm-hmm. So they do have 6 different sandwiches. They have 4 different green salads. We do some wraps, but everything's kind of on the side.
Okay.
So they can still get those homemade sauces with the sandwiches or wraps or salads.
Okay.
But yeah.
But it's probably going to be more like they'll just kind of see which ones sell more, and then they'll kind of change their order every week as it goes and say, oh, well, we're selling a lot more of these than these, so let's get more of these and less of these kind of thing. Okay.
Yep. So, they haven't really had the salads and the wraps, but I had suggested like wraps are a lot easier to eat while you're gambling than a sandwich.
Right.
So like
Exactly.
what do you think about the wraps? And they're like, great, let's try them. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So,
and I still haven't tried the wrap, but that is one of my only complaints about the sandwiches is because I like to drive and eat. It's hard to do with those.
It's not driving and eating with those.
It's really hard to do unless I want to make a big mess out of myself.
Correct. If you want to walk back into work with sauce on your shirt,
exactly.
Go for it.
But I mean, they taste really good. Obviously, I've only had a few of them, as you know, but I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna try some of the sliders next time.
Work down the
some
menu.
of those look really good. And I'm like, I want to try one. I want to try the one with the hot dogs and the potato salad. I got to do it.
Oh man,
got to do that one.
I have one customer that said that they will never eat a hot dog any other way
without potato salad.
Without the potato salad on it.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So.
But yeah, I started that and it slowly took off, and then I kind of got complacent because, I mean, again, starting something from scratch takes time to get going. So that's when I started the women's consignment store.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Lovey's shot through the roof, and so now I'm kind of juggling.
And how's that? And that's called Secondhand.
It's Second Affair.
Second Affair.
Second Affair Women's Consignment.
Gotcha.
Yes.
And how's that going?
It's going good.
Really?
There's a need for it.
Okay.
The store's jam-packed full of clothing.
Okay.
Shoes, handbags.
And that's been a couple months now? 3-4 months? 3 months?
September 20th. So not even 2 months.
Oh, barely a month.
Like a month and a half, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Crazy, but awesome.
Yep.
I mean, I say crazy, like not in a bad way, but I mean, it's just like you're much more ambitious, I think, than I could ever be.
Well, yeah. For me, I practice what I preach to my kids. Mm-hmm. Work hard, play hard, don't be lazy. Like, nothing's handed to you.
Right.
You have what you have because of what you put into it. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't say a prayer and, oh gosh, I wish I could drive these cars or have this money or have this house or have these businesses. No, like, I work my butt off to have what I have.
Sure.
And I teach that to my kids.
Yeah.
Like, you have to work hard.
Right.
Like, Brighton, you work for me, but you know what?
Yeah.
You still need to go get your AA. You have to go to school. You have to have something to show for your self-worth and what you're putting into what we're doing together.
Right.
You want to make more money? Show me. He went to Hancock. He got his certificate in business management. Like, there are things that you have to do for yourself to prove to yourself that, yes, you can do it, but you have to put in the hard work because at the end of the day, nothing is going to just fall from the sky and be given to you.
Yeah.
So I think.
And he doesn't seem scared of that at all, which I think is probably something you guys have instilled in him. That's why I like working with him.
Yes.
Because as I've told you, there's been other people I've worked with, other managers or whatever, that's just we're there really late because I'm doing everything.
Yep.
I'm doing all my, and I understand it's all my stuff I'm supposed to be doing, but Brian's like, I'm done with my stuff. I'll help you with yours.
Oh, absolutely.
So we can get out of here sooner. And I love that. It's awesome, Yep. So. Yeah.
I've taught that to all my kids, even Caden. Like, your grades come first because at the end of the day, you could tear something in your leg and you'll never be able to play basketball again.
Right?
You could do something to your shoulder or your elbow and you can never throw a baseball again.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's your grades come first.
Right.
Being a good person and working hard, and then everything else comes to follow.
Would you pull him out of sports if his grades were bad?
Oh, he has to have straight A's to play sports.
Straight A's? So 1B, he's out of sports.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And he gets straight A's.
Dang. Well, I bet he does because he loves sports so much. That's a good incentive.
Yeah, but he's very smart.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the child.
Okay.
Because if it was Brighton, I would never demand straight A's from him because I know that that's not Brighton's strongest suit.
Right.
Brighton is not. He doesn't like to read. He doesn't like to write. He's not a school kid. He did decent in school, some A's, some B's, some C's.
Sure.
But if I told him that he had to have all A's to play sports, he'd say, "Screw it, I'm not playing sports."
I'm not playing sports. See, that would have been me.
Yeah, and I know that for him.
Right.
So yes, for him it was a 2.5. You have to have a 2.5 if you want to play sports.
See, and that's awesome that you do the scale. I mean,
absolutely.
But then you don't want to have your other kids be like, well, that's not fair. How come I have to have a 4.0 and he only has to have a 2.5? Because you'd have that.
Correct.
But I think it's neat to be able to cater to your kids' personality. And because we homeschool all our kids, and that's one of the beauties of it is that, and that's why we started doing it to begin with. Because my older daughter, in first grade, she came home from public school and she's like, we're like, what's wrong? She's like, I'm bored. I was like, what do you mean you're bored? She's like, I understand this already, but I have to sit there for an hour while the teacher explains it to all the other kids, and we were like, okay, so she's being held back because of this, and I understand they have to do that in a public setting, right? Because some of the kids are going to get it, some are not, some are going to be smarter than others. I mean, because everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. So when we started homeschooling, it was like, okay, so this child is really good at math, but they're not very good at English kind of stuff, like writing essays and spelling and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to spend 2 hours today on that. We don't need to spend 2 hours on math because they get it. To where another one of our kids might be the opposite. And we've seen that. All our kids are totally different as far as their strengths and weaknesses, what they're good at, what they're not. So I mean, it's awesome that you're able to do that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Mia is very book smart.
Okay.
But common sense, like with everyday things, not there.
Street smarts, as we say.
Yeah, street smarts isn't there.
Okay.
To where Brighton, the street smarts is there. I mean, and he's a worker bee. He loves to work.
Yeah.
If he gets 2 days off a week, he doesn't know what to do with himself. But books and school is just, it's not his thing.
Right.
To where Caden, a 4.0 comes easy to him.
Right.
He doesn't even have to try to get it.
Right.
It's come so natural to him.
Right.
So I require that of him.
Do you think it's too easy for him?
Absolutely.
Do you feel like you should maybe get him in some college prep classes and stuff because he's smarter?
So 8th grade they do that.
Okay.
7th grade they don't.
He's in 7th now.
He's in 7th, but 8th grade they will. He has that opportunity to get credit in junior high, but get credit towards his high school credits.
Gotcha.
With those AP classes, so he'll do that next year for sure.
Okay.
And it'll be a challenge for him, which will be good.
Yeah.
Because right now it's just, I'm like, do you even have homework?
Yeah, he's just floating.
What do you study?
Right.
He's like, yeah, I study a little bit, but it's just So yes, something like that. I do require. You have to have a 4.0.
Right.
Or because we put a lot of time and effort and money into his sports.
Sure.
With his personal trainer and Paso, and then his trainer on Orchid. Those are a privilege.
Right.
That's not normal.
Yeah. Well, plus you guys travel all over the place. Didn't you just go to New York or something that was for his baseball, right?
He went to Cooperstown.
Okay.
In New York for baseball, which was a week-long thing. He stays in housing, lodging on, at the Field of Dreams, and he eats and sleeps and breathes baseball for a week. So,
which he probably just loves it.
oh, he ate that up.
It's like
he
heaven
loved
to
it.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but all of those things, that's a privilege. It's not expected. It's not handed to you. We made him fundraise for it. And he said, why do I have to do this? Because you have to have some skin in the game.
Right.
You want me to fly you to New York,
Right.
pay for you to be there for a whole entire week.
Right.
Plus, you want to go to New York City when we're done, go down into Manhattan and do all that fun stuff.
Sightseeing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do to participate and work to do this?
Right.
So he sold barbecue tickets,
Nice.
and that money was his money to spend however he wanted.
And now, was that through the baseball team, or did you guys put that together for him?
We put it together for
so
him.
who did the barbecuing? You guys?
Patrick and Brighton and my
Okay.
father-in-law.
Nice. Was it like tri-tip sandwiches and stuff, or chicken, or? Okay.
Yeah, we did tri-tip sandwiches.
Okay.
So, but yeah, again, work ethic.
Yeah.
If I'm going to preach to my kids what I need to do to maintain this level of my lifestyle and what, I'm going to give them, well, if I need to show my kids that too.
Right.
And I need to put that on them.
Yeah.
So
Sure. Lead by example, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. All right. Well, let's jump into some political discussion. Are you like a political person at all? Do you follow things, or kind of put your head in the sand, or are you more?
I put my head in the sand.
Okay.
Because one, I have Patrick who reads everything.
Right.
And falls into a black hole. And there's times that it just absolutely consumes him. And
Yeah.
it drives me crazy.
Because he gets so like
Oh my gosh.
and passionate about it, or like upset, or what's the deal?
All of the above.
Okay.
All of the above.
Okay.
And for me, I'm like, tomorrow I'm going to wake up, the sun's going to come up, and I still am going to go to work.
Yeah.
And I still have my family that I have to continue to provide for and take and pick up and drop off and do everything under the sun that, to me, it just doesn't impact me. I'm not going to consume my day with this.
Do you think there's anything that's happened over the last couple of years, maybe in our country, that has impacted the way you live your life, or do you feel like you're pretty exempt from all that?
I feel like I'm exempt.
Okay.
I think that I am so busy working.
Okay. Yeah.
And I the news is never on in my house.
Oh, really?
Well, if the TV's on, which is, maybe from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. that the TV's on, because that's literally when we get home.
Right.
There's a baseball game, a basketball game, a football game. There's something on.
Yeah.
So and then once dinner's done and I take my shower and I get in bed, it's usually, because I just can't listen to that and go to bed, and like the news and like everything that's going on, it's just, the world is a terrible place.
Okay.
So
you have feelings about it.
Oh, absolutely.
You just try not to let it affect your life, because you don't want to get depressed, or
correct.
Okay.
And Pat will try to tell me stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I cannot worry about that.
Right.
I can't unless.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't.
Yeah. So what kind of things like would you watch on the news that would make you sad or depressed or angry or any of the above?
I just think all the violence that's going on right now.
Okay.
Across the world.
Right. Like Israel.
Yes. It's just, I don't understand how these countries can be so angry with each other and they can take innocent lives.
Right.
It's just mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
I cannot wrap my head around it. I cannot fathom what they're doing.
Right.
And it makes me disgusted.
Yeah.
It makes me disgusted.
And it should. Anybody that it doesn't, I think there's something wrong.
Yeah.
But like for me, I have, my first reaction is always with media is like, is this really true?
Well,
right? Because it's gotten so hard to trust the media. But then my next thought is, if that is true, oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. Like, how evil do you have to be doing some of the things they were doing over there on whatever October 7th or whatever that main day was, where they were
absolutely,
killing and raping children and in front of their parents? I mean, it's just I'm like, that's
disgusting.
a whole new level of evil. Like, I can't even imagine ever even fathoming being able to do something like that to my worst enemy.
No.
Even somebody who like let's say like a child molester or a rapist or a serial killer, like I can never think to myself, oh, I hope that happens to that guy.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's just so evil.
Yeah. So for me, and having children of my own, I have to block that out.
Right.
Because it just sickens me to my stomach.
I know.
That I can't.
Yeah. Or even listening to, I shouldn't do this, but I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts because I'm both terrified of them and intrigued at the same time.
Absolutely.
But whenever I hear some of these stories about, like, kids that are my kids' ages, just, because a lot of times you'll hear, and this sounds bad, but a lot of times you hear, oh, and this is an unsolved murder, and you hear that this woman was murdered and she was a prostitute and she was a drug addict. And I'm not saying that her life doesn't matter, because it does.
Oh, absolutely.
But your first thought is, well, you're kind of in that lifestyle. Like, it's not that out of the ordinary for murders to happen if that's your lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
You got pimps killing each other. You got prostitutes and pimps. There's death all the time over there. But then you hear the story about some nice family who lives in the suburbs, and their 13-year-old daughter just vanishes. And it's like, and then she's found raped and murdered in a field somewhere, like a month later. I'm like, oh my gosh. And some of them, to this day, they don't know who did it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't even fathom that.
And see, having a daughter that's in a different state for me, I can't.
Right.
Like, if I listen to stuff like that, I would be like, okay, you're moving back home. You don't need a degree. It's okay. Just come home and don't ever leave the house.
Yes.
Because stuff like that happens.
Right.
Stuff like that happens.
Right. And you could even say, well, it happens more in certain parts of the country but sometimes it happens in a place that it's never happened.
Correct.
And the town is just shell-shocked. They're like, what?
Correct.
What just happened?
Correct.
How? This has never happened in the history of our town.
Correct.
Everybody's nice around here. Like, but all it takes is one person with a screw loose and a lot of times, even when they catch the guy, they're like, oh no, we couldn't believe he did that.
Yeah.
Like, really? I mean, all the evidence, we know he did it. He's admitting to doing it. But, like, this guy's been, he's so nice. He's the guy who works at the grocery store. He's smiling all the time. And
would always come into Starbucks.
Yes.
And tipped us $10 for making his coffee.
And you have no idea he's a psycho.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. And I think of all the people that I come into contact every day, I'm like, is this guy nuts? Like, is this lady gonna kill her husband later?
You
Like,
need to stop listening to those podcasts.
I know. That's what I mean. It's like this, it's like this touch and go thing. It's like, okay.
Correct.
But at the same time, it's intriguing, and I do like hearing when the guy's caught. There's one podcast I listen to that only does solved cases.
Yes.
Right? Like the guy's in jail or he's been, whatever. Although some of them, it's like the case is solved after the person has already died.
Yes.
Which is kind of like, I mean, the kind of the human side of me goes, oh, I wish he would have got something before he died.
Yeah.
Because he got to live scot-free up until his death, and his family had to, like, deal with that. So I know I need to stop doing that, but... But, I'm at work, I'm allowed to listen to stuff. And I listen to podcasts, I'll listen to music, I'll listen to sermons, whatever, whatever the mood is. But, So, I mean, but, like, that's the kind of thing that I think would make most people upset. Like, I think the Israel-Hamas thing is, I mean, it's obviously weird because there's people in our country that are saying, we're glad this happened to Israel, all this kind of stuff. I'm going, whoa. Like, I can't even, like, it's like, I understand there's debates about the land and who it belongs to, and there's this fight going on, but for anybody to condone what's happening, like, in that way, like, is just crazy to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's something that most people would be like, ugh, like, that just makes me sick to my stomach to hear that's happening. Is there anything you can think of that's like something that might make your blood boil, but like someone else might be like, Jen, what are you talking about? I'm glad that happened. That's great.
Yeah.
Why are you so against this? This is fantastic.
No. Again, I pretty much, when it comes to politics, I bury my head in the sand. Just because for me, like I said, I think with the way things are set up, whether you have a voice of reason or not, it's not going to change anything.
Okay.
So for me, it's like, as a business owner, it doesn't matter what I do, what I say, how I vote. The sun's coming up tomorrow. My doors still need to stay open. I still need to employ my people. Whatever laws they put in place, I have to abide by.
Right. Right.
And I feel like when you vote, I feel like it's rigged.
Right.
So I don't vote.
Okay.
I don't. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. You think it's rigged both ways, no matter what?
Absolutely.
Like, just kinda, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, how can the state of California get more money? Whether because that's all they're interested in.
Oh, of course.
Money, 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 money.
Sure.
Well, what can we charge for this? What can we charge for that? The permits that I have to pay for to be open in California are through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, how can we get more money? So it doesn't matter how I vote. I honestly feel like it's the laws that they're trying to put in place are always going to go for what's best for the state. Is what I feel. So,
like as a whole, or do you mean like going to go towards whatever most of the people want in the state?
No, I don't think it's what the people want.
It's just in general. So you think the higher ups
absolutely
are making the decision to say this is what's best for the state as a whole?
Yeah, we're going to put this on the ballot.
Okay.
And everybody can vote. But at the end of the day, say most of the people vote against this law, whatever the law is that they're trying to put in place. I honestly feel that the Senate's just going to rig it to go the opposite direction.
Right. And do you think within the government, though, that there's like do you think that it goes more to, people talk about like right and left, conservative, conservative, liberal, kind of Republican, Democrat thing. Do you think it does that equally both ways? Or do you think there's more of it on one side, or... Do you know what I'm saying? Like, or do you think it depends by state in general?
I think it depends by state.
California is a very liberal, democratic state, so
correct.
It's going to go more that way here. But somewhere like Tennessee or Texas or Florida is going to go more conservative.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely. I mean, I think that's why so many people are trying to leave California.
Right. Right.
I mean,
one of many reasons.
Well, and then when we travel and people say like, "Where are you from?" and we say California, you get that, ooh.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm sorry for you.
Yeah. Like I feel like most of the time I have to apologize before I even say that I'm from California. Like, I'm so sorry, but we're from California.
Yeah, it's like when you drive cross country and you have your California plates.
Correct.
I always tell Bethany, I was like, should we cover these up or something while we're driving through Georgia or Alabama or whatever?
No, like seriously, and it's like, but that is so sad.
Yeah.
That we have to feel like that.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Well, it's sad because there is a lot of fantastic people here.
Oh, absolutely.
That don't believe all of the California, like all the things Gavin Newsom's doing. Like, there's plenty of people that are like, we need to get rid of this guy.
Absolutely.
I mean, they had a recall vote. I mean, that tells you right there. There's enough people to put that together and say, let's get rid of this guy.
But what's happened with any of this?
Nothing.
Correct.
Well, because he still won. He still won over Larry Elder, which kind of bummed me out.
But how? This is what I'm saying. Like the people in California are speaking.
Right.
And saying Gavin Newsom is not good for our state.
Right.
Why is he still here?
Well, but do you think the majority of Californians are saying that?
I would think so.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that would lead towards kind of like the thing being rigged, like you were saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I meet a lot of people that like Gavin Newsom. And I tell them, hey, I'll pray for you.
Yeah. Absolutely. I would probably say the same thing.
You know, it's like, but I mean, so look at something like, as a business owner, something that would affect you is that I know you didn't own those businesses during the heat of the COVID lockdowns. But some of the things Gavin Newsom was doing in California, let's say, you know, some people are talking now about, COVID's rising. Of course, most of us are like, we're not doing that again.
Yeah.
But if they tried to impose something like that, let's say in the next couple months, that would affect you. Right? I mean, it would or it wouldn't. Like, I mean, depending how far they went with it, because I imagine you'd probably be like, nah, not doing that. But if you have police coming to your door, if it's like, like a Gestapo kind of thing where they're like, no, we're going to shut you down unless you abide by this. All your employees have to be vaccinated. All your employees have to wear masks all the time they're working, or you can't be open. That would directly affect you, In a way, yes. But I am the type of person that I'm going to figure out how to get around this. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, nothing's going to stop me.
Okay. Yeah.
But, like, in my mind, there's no option for failure. There's no option for not providing what I do to the public.
Okay.
So I'll find a way around that.
Okay. Like, what kinds of ways could there be, though? I mean, like,
I'll
find a doctor friend who will write a thing saying that you've been vaccinated.
At the end of the day, the owners don't have to be vaccinated. Like, your employees do, but not owners.
Really?
So,
which is weird.
So I can put my businesses into a corporation, and I can have Brighton, myself, and Patrick on there,
mm-hmm.
and we don't have to be vaccinated. So I'll bust out the food. I can have Patrick and Brighton be delivery drivers.
But you'd have to essentially get rid of most of your employees.
I would,
right,
for the time being, but I would still keep my doors open.
Yeah,
I would still find a way.
Okay. So you wouldn't go out of business?
No, heck no.
It would still affect you, but it would
affect me. Yeah, I'm sure it would.
You wouldn't go out of business. You just have to work harder.
Absolutely.
See Pat out
there delivering. As if I already don't.
Yeah, right. Well, I was thinking even harder to where, like, if it's just the three of you, you'd have one of you on the ovens, you'd be in-house, and then Pat would be doing all the deliveries. And to see that on a Friday night or something, I mean, he'd lose his mind.
Probably.
He'd be taking 5-6 deliveries at a time. You'd have to be that'd be about 4.5 hours before you get it, And they'd be like, what?
But hey, but I think people would wait, honestly, because remember when COVID first hit and they shut everything down?
Yeah.
And for the longest time, it was like, man, I just wish I could go out to eat. Or man, I wish I could get a pizza. Or I wish I could just have, you don't realize all the luxuries you have around you until it's taken away. And then you're just like, what the heck?
Right.
So,
and I think, and two, I think something that was really disheartening disheartening in a good way, because it was eye-opening. Like when you had Gavin Newsom saying the things he was saying, and then he gets caught going out to eat at some big fancy restaurant with 30 of his family members.
Correct.
It's like, why are you allowed to do this, but
and
we're not?
Can't.
Right,
Yeah.
Or Nancy Pelosi going to get her hair done in San Francisco. It's like, what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
So I think for a lot of Americans, even the ones that were all in on it, they were like, oh yeah, we have to mask and permanent vaccinate. We got to do all this. They saw that and they're like, wait a minute. You're the one telling us to do this. I mean, businesses are getting shut down because of you, and you're out there eating with a humongous group of people. I think a lot of people at that point were like, I'm out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm done. You know, this is ridiculous.
I remember where Patrick and I worked, they were thinking, in order for everybody to work, because, we'd have technicians and all those workers going into homes of people, they were bouncing around the idea of everybody has to be vaccinated to work.
Right.
And I laughed. I said, you're going to lose a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Including me.
Sure. And
my husband. I'm not buying into this whole ordeal of you have to be vaccinated.
Right.
That's just insane to me.
Yeah, mandatory vaccinations are always something that's kind of frightening to me. But, I mean, people do bring up the point that we've been doing it for years. I mean, you have public school, you have to have certain vaccinations to go to public school.
But I think that those vaccinations have been tested.
Yes.
And they've been around forever.
Correct.
It's not just we're going to come up with this vaccine and we hope to the Lord that it's going to work and nothing's going to be wrong with you. And then all of a sudden you have people with blood clots and going into cardiac arrest.
20-year-olds dying of heart attacks. Yeah.
Oh, well...
Yeah. But you notice they don't talk about that, and I'm an evidence-based person, so it's hard for me to say I know for sure that's what's causing it, because I don't know. But it is interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And even though I was telling Bethany this the other day, I'll open my computer and it automatically goes to Yahoo News or whatever it is, right? And I cannot believe every day there's 2 or 3 different stories, and I don't click on them all, but the headline will read something along the lines of 20-year-old collapses during football game, high school or college football game. 18-year-old, falls over and dies for whatever. It's like,
why?
I'm sorry, 5-10 years ago, you didn't see headlines like that.
Yeah.
And when you did, it was so shocking. Your first thought was what in the what? It's one thing if it's car accident. Okay, there's a cause. Gang fight. Kid gets shot in a gang. Okay, that sucks. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but at least we understand that.
We understand why.
Yeah, an 18-year-old that's the starting quarterback for his high school football team, falling over and dying in the middle of a game. That is not normal, right? That doesn't happen, right?
No. And the first thing people ask, did that kid, was he vaccinated?
Yes.
And then
they won't answer it.
And then they won't answer. And it's kind of like we're going to brush it under the rug and we're just going to go ahead and move on.
Right. Exactly.
Like Bronny James.
Yeah.
LeBron James.
Yeah.
His son.
Yeah. Right.
Like
Did he die?
No. But he went into full-on cardiac arrest.
Wow.
And it's like it hit the news and then it was like gone.
Yeah. Yep. And that's what I mean about trust in the media.
Yeah.
Because the media is obviously biased.
Oh, absolutely.
The way they spin stories, the way they only show certain things. I mean, I've talked before on here many times about, things like racism. I think media pushes it. They're purposely trying to cause race wars in this country. Absolutely. And I don't understand why. Like, what is the benefit to anybody for that? It doesn't make any sense. No. Like you'll read two different headlines of a police shooting. Exact same scenario.
Yes.
The person's driving, it's routine traffic stop, whatever. The person gets violent, whatever, and then the cop feels threatened and shoots him and kills him. Okay. There's so many factors that could go into that, right?
Absolutely.
But if it is a white cop and a black driver of the car,
they're going to spin it all.
Yes,
absolutely.
The media has to mention that. Oh, it was a white police officer, John whatever, killed black passenger, whatever.
Yes.
But if you have the same thing with the races reversed, it's just a cop killed
doing
a person.
His job.
Yeah. But then they don't even mention the race in the article. It's not even there.
Yeah. No, I know.
It's like, what are you doing? It just doesn't. And then COVID, we saw with a lot of that, a lot of the media spinning stuff with vaccines and masks and all this stuff. It's like, who's telling the truth here? And that's
something we'll probably never know.
Yeah. But I mean, I just saw a poll the other day that they did showing like the percentage of Americans that trust the media.
Oh, I'm sure it's outstanding.
It's lower than it's ever been.
That's crazy.
Like lower than it's ever been.
Well, because you don't know, and then it's like, what news source are you getting it from? Because this channel's telling you one thing, this one's telling you another, this newspaper's telling you this other newspaper's telling you that. I mean, it's just who's publishing it, who's behind this?
Yes.
Well,
and how can you really know the truth? Because I mean, the only people that know the truth are those that are right there, that are involved. It's like anything. You have. Let's say you go back to what we just said. You have an officer involved shooting or whatever they call it. Honestly, the only two people that really know what happened in that whole story are the two people involved, and one of them's dead now, so you can't ask them.
Correct.
And even if you do ask them, how do you know they're telling you the truth? If you ask the officer, how do you know he's telling you the truth?
Correct.
You just don't know.
Nope.
And I get that, but again, just the spinning of it is just it's just amazing to me. It's oh my gosh. So we talked about vaccines a little bit. It's funny, this episode will get flagged. Every time I talk about COVID or vaccines, my episode gets flagged. Yeah. I had my older daughter, listens to all of them, and she texted me and said, Dad, you realize that there's a little thing that pops up when you listen to this certain episode that says, for more information on COVID, click here or whatever. I was like, really?
Really?
And I couldn't figure out why. Well, I realized that in the episode description, I had put COVID and vaccine were both there, so I was like, "Oh, that's why."
That's why.
But yeah, so anyway, it'll be flagged. But I mean, so what are your thoughts on the vaccine? I mean, obviously you haven't gotten it.
No,
I'm getting that. I haven't either. But
no,
is there a reason that you haven't got it? You don't trust it, or
I don't think that there's been enough studies on it, enough research on it, enough to prove that it works. Because from what I see, people that have been vaccinated are still getting COVID.
More so.
Yes.
It seems like to me, more people that got vaccinated are getting COVID now than
correct.
Yeah.
So what is the reasoning behind that? Like, why did they even? Why would all these people get something that there's no research done on it? Just because the government's saying you have to go do this?
Well, I think people are scared. They're scaring people. They're saying if you don't get this, you're going to die.
Correct.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we're all going to die of something.
Right. Right. Right.
I mean, that's just.
But if you were like 85 and they came out with the COVID vaccine, would you have gotten it?
No.
Not even then. Okay.
No.
Okay.
I don't even want to live to be 85. So if I die from COVID, then great.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like Brighton went or Brighton wanted to go to a Dodger game. And all these stadiums were enforcing that you had to be vaccinated to get in.
And didn't they have like stations in the parking lot? Okay.
Yes. So Dingbat went and got his first COVID vaccine.
Oh, so he could go to the game.
So he could go to the game, and I didn't know about it. And when I found out, I reamed him a new one.
Nice.
I'm like, what are you doing, dude?
Because now you're worried about it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm worried, like, because now all of this is coming out with all these younger kids that are going into cardiac arrest or getting blood clots or all this stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't need to lose my young son.
Yeah.
Because you went and got the COVID vaccine to go to a stupid Dodger game.
Right.
Like, where was your thinking behind that? And Brighton's very smart when it comes to those types of things. So I was just like, what were you thinking? He goes, I wasn't.
Yeah. I was just thinking I want to go to the game.
Yeah, he goes, I wasn't.
Drove all the way here.
He goes, we've been cooped up for so long. He's like, I wanted to go to a live game.
Yeah.
And that's all he was thinking.
Right.
And so I go, well, you're not getting the second round. You're not like, or the third or any of that above. And he goes, I know, I'm so sorry. But I just, I can't justify getting it.
Yeah. Because even like percentage wise.
Yeah. There you go.
With statistics, they obviously, almost everybody I know, like that I work with and all that stuff, they've been vaxxed, right? They've done it. And I don't know anybody that's dropped over dead from it.
Neither do I.
Right. So, I mean, the percentage of people that's happening to is pretty low.
Correct.
But the fact that it's out of nowhere is scary, because for those parents that it has happened to, that's scary stuff, right? I mean,
these are kids that have no underlying issues.
Right.
Like nothing.
Exactly.
Not even asthma.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
Yeah, healthy sports player, totally good to go, and then just falls over dead.
Crazy
out of nowhere.
to me.
And then the parents have to deal with that. You know, it's like, oh my gosh.
Yep. So, yeah, I'm completely against it.
Okay. So if they came out and said mandatory, you just say, nope.
I'm not doing it.
What if they said you'll go to jail if you get it? If you don't get it? Would you just go to jail?
I don't know about that. No. I don't think I'm suited for jail.
Yeah.
I guess they could do that.
Right.
I don't think they would, because
I don't either.
There's no room for all the people to go to jail.
No,
so by the time they build all the jails, I'll be old.
Yeah.
So I'll say screw it. I don't care.
Yeah.
By then my kids will be raised and they'll be good to go. So
right.
But yeah, I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
I refuse.
Okay. Yeah, because I know, like, my parents both got it, but they're old, so. And I could I'd still be scared of it anyway, even if I was 80. I'd still be scared to get it, but I think I'd be more likely to get it if I was that old. I don't know, just because I feel like COVID is something that affects that age. But
yeah, but when you're 80, are you really out and about in public?
No. I'm with you. I don't even know if I want to live to be 80.
Yeah, no, thank you.
That doesn't look like a fun existence to me.
No.
Well, my parents, I'm not that they're 80. My dad's like 70. I think he's 75.
Yeah.
My mom's like 70, 71, something like that. But they still enjoy life. They're out. My mom's out all the time. She's working and doing stuff. And my dad is retired, but he does woodworking in his garage all day. And
I just think it's how you probably age.
Yeah.
Because, yes, there are those 80-year-olds that are super active and still go, but then you have those 80-year-olds that can't even get out of their recliner and their hair's all, like, messed up, and they've been in the same clothes for 3 days.
Right.
Like, that's not it. Like,
right.
And that's when my mom was alive, she would tell me that. When I get old, do not let me look like that. Like, and she would point somebody out. Like, look at her hair's all messed up. She doesn't even have a manicure, a pedicure. Like, my makeup has to be on. I'm like, okay, yes, Mom. Yes.
Right.
But
yeah, that's funny.
She passed away at 60, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago, right? A couple years?
Almost 3 years ago.
3 years, okay. You guys are like really close.
Best friend.
Yeah, I see your posts on Facebook and stuff. And do you have siblings?
One.
Okay, you do. Sorry, I'm not trying to get you going.
No, it's okay. No. Yeah, one sister. She lives in Texas with Mia.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brian had told me that. Yeah,
she lived there. Yep.
Okay, so you have one sister. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want some Kleenex?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Right. I wasn't trying to push that button.
No, that's okay.
So let's go back to just politics in general. I know you don't care, but I mean, you have to have an opinion on, say, Trump or Biden, or I mean, you really do.
I'm not a Biden fan.
Okay.
But I'm not a Trump fan.
Okay.
Trump drives me crazy.
Me too. Yeah.
I think his intentions are good.
Yeah.
But just him as a person, he just doesn't. When I think president, I don't think of Donald Trump.
Nope.
I'm sorry. I just
Yes.
he just is not a president figure to me.
Right.
And when he speaks, it drives me nuts.
Yes.
I don't think that he's a good public speaker.
Right.
But I think he's a great businessman, and I think that he knows how to run the country the way it should be ran.
Sure. He's very smart.
Yes.
His people skills are lacking.
To say the least, yes.
Right, yeah.
So they both drive me crazy. So I'm not a fan of either.
Okay. And I know you said you don't vote, but like...
I don't.
Would you choose one or the other, or do you think they're equally horrible for the country?
If I had to pick, I would pick Trump, because I know that when he was the president, we were headed in the right direction.
Okay.
So if I had to pick, I would pick Trump.
So when you say in the right direction, what do you mean by that?
I think that our economics here in the United States, like, they were headed in the right direction. I mean, look at our gas prices right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
Right.
$7 a gallon.
Yeah. Makes you want to buy a bike.
I mean, I thank goodness I have my electric car.
Oh, do you have electric? Nice. Hybrid or full electric?
Full electric.
Nice.
But I drive that most of the time.
Yeah.
Like when we have to go down to LA or up north for tournaments.
Yeah.
$15 for all weekend to charge a car.
Yeah.
To where if I took my actual car that takes the most expensive gas in it.
Right.
I mean, you're looking at like $200.
Oh, easy, yeah.
If not more.
Right.
Or if we take the truck, forget that.
Now, I've never had an electric one. How much, like when you charge it, like say you charge it overnight and it's fully charged, how far can you get on that?
If I'm in town, it'll last me like a week.
Really? What about if you drove, like, could you like drive to San Diego and back, no problem on one?
No,
okay.
No. If I left here, it would get me to probably like Burbank area. Okay. And I'd have to charge again.
Okay.
But it's like $7 to charge.
But how long does that take?
About 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
So I could see why that would be frustrating if you like had a trip to San Diego. You'd be like, all right, we got to stop in Burbank for a half an hour.
You have to plan it.
Yeah. You'd be like, all right, we're going to go to this restaurant or whatever, or we're going to get some fast food, eat in the car while the car charges.
Yeah.
See, that would be frustrating to me.
Well, and you have to know where your charging stations are, because like the first trip that Patrick and Caden took the car was to Vegas. Okay. And they stopped and charged, and they said it was no big deal. Well, then, so I'm like, all right, like whatever. So the next time we take it was when we went to go play baseball in, where was it? Like Lemoore or something like that. Right. There's no charging stations there. Oh, really? None.
Oh, and what are you supposed to do then? You gotta call a tow truck?
Well, the closest charging station was 20 minutes away. Okay. So I'm like, Pat, drop us off at the baseball field. You go 20 minutes away. Right. To go charge the car and then come back and get us. Right. And there was a couple close calls, and I said, I was going to never again.
Like, what if you get to Lemoore and you got 2 minutes left?
Oh, you're screwed.
You got to get towed to a charging station. Yeah. I wonder if the tow truck guys just have like portable charging things or something. You'd think. Maybe. You'd think they would have that now, right?
I've seen so many people in their Teslas on the side of the road.
Oh, yeah. Right?
Where like they did not gauge the charging station properly.
And is there just like there's a gas gauge? Is there a electric gauge on there that will show you, okay, you have this long before you're dead?
Well, yeah, but say you're going 60 miles in a regular car, in an electric car, it's going to take you like probably 85 miles to go 60 miles.
Okay.
So it's not regular like in a gas car. When it tells you have 20 miles, you literally have 20 miles. It's not like that. So
yeah, because my car will say 30 miles to E or whatever, and I can probably go 30 miles after that.
Correct.
Right. So
it's not like that in an electric car. So if I'm going 60 miles, I always plan for 120 miles in the electric car.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
Okay.
And if I have leftover miles, then great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I refuse to be stranded. So it's
yeah.
Back to what we were talking about.
Right.
I think with right now where we're at, it's with where Biden has us. We were better off with Trump.
Right. And I would agree completely. It sounds like I'm just like you.
Yeah.
Like I don't really like either one of them as people, but when it comes to running the country, I think Trump does a much better job.
Oh, absolutely.
Like hands down.
Yeah.
So for me, if I had to, if that's my true options, I'm definitely voting Trump.
Yeah.
But I would hope, there's a couple of Republican candidates that I like better. Mm-hmm. And I would rather have them in there than Trump or Biden. You know what I mean? But if I'm being forced to choose between those two, I'm going Trump for sure.
But again, this is where I circle back to, like, do we as Americans really have a say?
Right.
As to who our president is? Because we don't.
Yeah.
We, like, in the big scheme of things, we don't. It comes to your electoral votes, and
oh, I see what you're saying. Right. You think she
you
popular vote?
Yes.
Okay.
1000%.
Okay.
So you're voting for the president, but what?
Right.
But you're not.
Well, especially living somewhere in California, right? Like the odds on the Republican candidate getting the electoral votes from California, I mean, not going to happen.
Correct. So why are we even voting for the president?
So in a sense, your vote in that direction would mean nothing.
It doesn't.
Right. But even so do you think if there was the popular vote in California, I still think there are probably more Democratic votes here than
probably, but at least if they went with the popular vote, you would feel
like you
did something.
Right.
Right now you vote and it's like, well, what does that mean?
Well, and it would be a closer race because, like, let's say that California had like 60% Democratic vote, 40% Republican. And then you go to Nevada and let's say they're 50-50. And then you go to another state that's 60% Republican, 40% Democrat. Now you're leveled out.
Correct.
So then California doesn't matter. It's a wash.
Correct.
Right? And as opposed to, let's say all three of those states, you would get the electoral votes for California, for Nevada, and then, you know what I'm saying? So then it's like all blue on that side. And then, and I think I'm with you. I think the popular vote would be, I mean, I understand some of the arguments against that, but I think ultimately, because then it makes it so every single person has a voice.
Correct. And I think that you would get more people to vote.
Yes.
If it was by the popular.
Right.
And I think that that's why people don't vote. I think that that's why people don't put the time and effort and energy into really knowing what's on that ballot. Right. Because they're like, why?
Right.
Why?
Yeah. And then they say there's a lot of people that the percentage of people that don't even vote is huge.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, across the country, it's huge. So
I think in order to make change with people and wanting to get everybody to vote, like there something has to be done.
Right. So when you're saying rigged, is that what you mean? The popular versus the electoral? Are you talking about, like, do you think Trump won the 2020 election and he should be president still?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you think that the election was rigged somehow? Yeah. I have a hard time with that one.
Well, and then you have all of the ballots that are turned in through the mail.
Yeah. I think mail-in ballots should be done.
Yeah.
They should be done. I mean, I think you should have to show up, show your own ID.
Correct.
To vote.
Correct.
You know, and they say, well, some people can't do that. Well, then they don't vote.
Correct. I mean, because I could get my mail-in ballot and go, here you go, Patrick, fill this out for me and send it in.
Right. Well,
what's the point of that?
Yeah, and they even found a bunch of ones that weren't valid.
Yes.
Like there were like dead people or what. Like there's so many opportunities for fraud.
Oh, absolutely.
With mail-in voting.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think they know that.
Yeah.
You know?
But why don't we change that?
Well, because I think it works to the benefit of some of the people
Absolutely.
that want it to be going
Absolutely.
in that direction. But I mean, it just seems like I have a hard time going all in with the Trump should still be president thing. I don't know. Because I know they showed evidence of voter fraud. There was definitely evidence of voter fraud, but there wasn't enough to show that he would have won. At least from what we've seen. Now, of course, it could be that there's a bunch they haven't found yet, or it got hidden, or it got burned up. Well, who knows? Who really knows what's going on back there? But I mean, you go back to Hillary losing to Trump. She said the same thing. She also said the election was stolen. She should have won. You know, I mean, personally, I think a big part of that is because she was so blindsided because she thought she had it in the bag. She's like, there's no way this guy is going to be president. There's just no way. And then the announcement, Donald Trump, new president. What? I mean, even the people that voted for him were just like, wait, what? I just voted for him because he wasn't Hillary.
Correct.
You know, so you have that, and then you have the next one between him and Biden. You have a bunch of people voting for Biden because he's not Trump.
Correct.
And I've had people flat out tell me that.
Yeah.
That is like, I would have voted for anybody if it wasn't Trump.
Yeah.
They hate him that much. You know? So
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Right. Exactly. And that's what's frustrating, and that's why I don't want him to be the nominee this time around, because I still think there's still a lot of I think there's more people like that now. Yeah. I think there's a lot of Republicans that supported him for his first term that even though they don't want Biden, you know, like I said, I think if it's Biden or Trump, then they're going Trump. But at the same time, if you throw somebody
else in there,
you know, like, I mean, there's guys like Ron DeSantis from Florida that I really like what he's doing in Florida. And a lot of people hate him. But I think they hate him for the same reasons they hate Trump, because he's saying, look, this crap has got to stop.
Yes.
All this stuff happening in our country, we're sick of it. We're tired of it. This is not the country that we remember, where, you know, to use Trump's phrase, make America great again, you know, which I don't know if that phrase itself gets you in trouble, but it's just, there's just way too much garbage that's happening in the country that a lot of America is like, no, we need to stop this.
Well, we're sending so much money to all these other countries. Like, why are we not taking care of our people?
Right. And then we're in a budget deficit.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And then everything's going up because we're just printing more money and printing more money because we got to send money here and send money there. And like, it's insane. Just the whole thing is, it's crazy. And yes, it needs to stop.
Yeah. When I was a kid, whenever I ever hear that, like that they would print money. I think the first time I ever saw that was in Goonies. Remember that movie? And they're in the Fratelli's thing and they find the money printing machine. They thought that was the treasure. And I thought, wait a minute, why is there a machine? And I think one of my parents or something told me, I said, well, that's how you get the dollar bills. There's a mint place in Washington, D.C., and they print the money.
You're like,
and I'm
what?
like, yeah. And then later on, I hear about something about a budget. Oh, we're in a budget deficit where we owe money to all these other countries and stuff, and we borrowed money from China. I'm like, why don't they just fire that machine up, you know, and print, you know, a couple hundos out of there, and let's get out of this mess, you know? It's like, what's the deal? And then they're like, oh no, there's got to be a gold balance in this, which is something to this day I still don't completely understand how that works. It doesn't make any sense. But my brain doesn't work that way. But yeah, it's just bad. So the last thing I'll ask for in the political is just if there was anything that you could change in our country, that you had the power to change. Let's say there's no bounds. You have all the power in the world to change anything that you could change. What would you change?
Oh goodness!
Like in a country sense, not so much like in a personal way, you know. But I mean, just like to fix the country.
Dear Lord,
kind of a loaded question.
It is. I mean, I think that homelessness.
Okay. That's a big one.
A huge one.
It's getting worse.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, so bad.
Yeah, you can't walk around big cities anymore.
Go to San Francisco. It's horrible.
It's bad.
It is horrible.
Yeah.
And that's a place that, like, growing up, we would go every January.
Yeah.
Like, and that was my grandmother, my mom, my sister, and myself for a week.
I used to love San Francisco.
Yes. Because my sister's birthday is right after Christmas. So it's like after Christmas, you already have everything. Like, what do you need? So my little sister would always pick to go to San Francisco.
Okay.
And like, those are good childhood memories. You go there now. I took the kids there one time and Caden's like, Mom, what is that guy doing? I'm like, oh, he's actually going to the bathroom. Like,
you actually
on
saw
the
it.
sidewalk. And he was just mortified.
How long ago was that?
Probably 5 years ago.
Okay.
Like you can't.
Because we had heard about that happening. But then just this last April, I was in Portland with my cousin. And Portland's another one. I used to love walking around Portland. I mean, we were walking around Portland, and literally, that's the first time I've ever seen a guy crapping on the sidewalk.
Yes. It's horrible.
Like right next to a freeway on-ramp.
Yes.
I'm like, there's just cars just driving by him. I'm like, dude, do you have any shame at all?
No big deal.
No.
It's no big deal. So I definitely, the homeless people, I that's one thing. Our vets, we need more resources for them.
More care for the vets.
More care, yes, absolutely. I think those would probably be my two biggest.
Okay. So then let me press in a little bit and say, what would you, let's take homelessness. And you're given the task by, Joe Biden calls you, says, all right, Jen, it's your job. I'm giving you full authority to do whatever you need to do. I need you to fix the homeless problem in America. Where do you start?
I would start by building more shelters. Okay. Definitely more shelters for them to be able to take a shower. Right. Get food, somewhere to sleep. Yep. And in those shelters, have a resource system to place them with jobs, to help place them in jobs.
So the point would be more like rehabilitation, not just to give them a free place to live.
Nope. And
get them back out into the workforce.
Correct. Okay. And to work with different companies that would sign up with these shelters to say, yes, we are willing to help, these people get back on their feet. Right. But they need help.
Yeah, and they would probably have to have a mental health person there also, because a lot of these people are dealing with mental health issues. Yeah.
Well, they're on drugs. They need to, get off of that. I mean, there's a lot. So I would definitely start with shelters that have these resources to help them get back on their feet. Okay. And there'd have to be a timeline. You can stay here for X amount of time. We're going on these many interviews in a week. There would be guidelines for them to stay there. It's not just you're going to shower and eat and sleep here and just exist.
So what would you do if let's say we built a bunch of those places, which I'm with you, that sounds awesome. I think that's exactly what a lot of these people need. But what if there was a big group of them that didn't want that? And they told you, no, I don't want to go there. I want to just continue living on the street. I want to continue doing the drugs. I want to continue living this way. What would you do in that case?
That's a hard question.
Yeah.
Because I know the majority of them are going to want the help. Right. But then there's going to be some that are going to fight against it. And I know you can't help everybody.
Right. Well, because they're addicted to drugs.
Correct.
So, even if they agree to go into the system, that's going to be a long road.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't have an answer for that. I guess you help the ones that you can, and to help reduce the homeless population. Sure.
You would make it mandatory, these systems and programs?
No.
So the ones that wanted to stay just have to leave them alone.
Yeah. Okay. But if you could reduce what's out there, it would be a million times better than what it is right now. Right. But I don't like when people make something mandatory on me. Right. So I wouldn't do that to somebody else. Absolutely. Yes. But the ones that want help, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's a good answer.
Thank you.
So that's something you feel like your tax money, you'd be okay with it going towards something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Building more facilities and things that could help. Yeah, I would too. That's the kind of things I want my money going to.
Correct.
Things that's going to not only help people, but in the process help the country, help our cities, our places
help the economy.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yes.
If they're working, they're going to be renting from somebody. They're going to be spending money eating out and all of that. It's just going to help the economy overall.
Right. And then with vets, because a lot of the vets struggle with mental health issues too. Depending on what war they were in, what they were subjected to during that kind of thing. So you think there should be facilities, more facilities for people
There's
like that as well?
There's not enough facilities.
Yeah.
There's not enough, and the ones that we do have, they're impacted, and then they can't get into them, and then it goes downhill from there.
Right. And a lot of the homeless in the big cities are vets.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's what's sad too, and they feel like the country's kind of forgotten about them or whatever.
And we're helping other countries and not helping what's going on here with what we need to be focused on.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at with that. I have no problem with helping other countries. I think that America is good for that. I think we're kind of I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but we're we're good for that. But I think that we should be helping our own first.
Correct. You can help others when you are able to help them.
Right.
But take care of what's going on in your own home.
Yeah, it's like if you have enough money in your own family to feed your children, and then you have excess, and you have a friend or somebody who says, look, I can't feed my kids today, then you buy them food. No
Absolutely.
problem. But if you don't even have enough money for your own family,
you're not going to go turn around and buy somebody else food.
You're going to take care of your own family first.
Correct.
Even it doesn't mean you don't care about the other kids. It's just you care about your kids more.
Correct.
Right. And it sounds harsh, but it's just true.
Yeah, absolutely.
I always use a scenario like if my son and your son are on a cliff and they're both falling over and I can only grab one of them.
You're grabbing your son.
I'm grabbing my son,
yeah,
and you would
absolutely.
grab your son. It's just the way it is. It doesn't mean I'm glad your son fell off the cliff.
Correct.
If I had the ability, if the scenario was you have the ability to grab both, then that would definitely be my first option.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
But, it's like, if you can only get one,
you're taking
it's your own kid. Yeah.
And that's how it should be here.
Right.
In America. But that's.
Yeah, right now, seems to be. It's just kind of. But I'm always like, where's that money coming from? Didn't you just say how we have no money?
Yeah.
How are you sending billions of dollars to Ukraine and all these places? It's like, where is that coming from?
Correct.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right, let's jump in with both feet.
All right.
Spiritual stuff. So why don't you just walk me through where you're at with that as far as your beliefs, your lack of belief. Is there a God? Is there no God?
There is a God.
Okay.
So growing up, I was brought up Catholic.
Okay. Your parents were Catholic?
My mom was.
Okay.
And my mom's side of the family, her mom, dad, brothers, everybody. But I feel like most Hispanics are Catholic.
Yes.
It's just like you have no say in it.
It's fascinating, yeah.
It's just
you're
Catholic.
part of your ethnicity, yeah.
And that's how you're brought up.
Yeah.
And you can't ask why.
Yeah.
It's just you're Catholic. You're baptized, and that is it.
Right. End of story.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And I went to St. Louis de Montfort from kindergarten all the way through.
Really?
And then I went to St. Joe's.
Dang.
And you had no option, no say, this is where you're going to school. You're going to St. Louis de Montfort. You're going to St. Joe's, and that's just the way I was brought up.
Yeah.
And it was so boring.
Oh, yeah.
And so repetitive. And when you'd go to church, you'd go through the motions because it's
just what you do.
It's just what you do.
Right. But did you feel like as a young kid, were you questioning whether or not you thought that was true or right? Or even then?
I didn't even know what it meant.
Okay, you were just doing it.
I would go to church, and half of the priests that were there, you could barely understand because they were from England or wherever. So, and I'm daydreaming. I'm not even listening to what's going on.
Right.
So then, as I got older, and then I met Patrick.
Yeah.
I remember going to church one time at the Catholic church at St. Louis de Montfort, and he was just like, "This is god awful." He's like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I don't even know."
Right.
But I'm told we're supposed to go to church.
That's why you guys went.
So we're at church.
Okay.
And he's like, "I can't do this."
Yeah.
He's like, I can't do this.
Were you guys married at this point, or is this before all that?
We were married.
Okay.
And he goes, this is awful.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't even understand what the priest is saying.
Right.
I clearly cannot understand him. He goes, and I don't even, the only thing that I got out of this whole mass was Our Father, because I know that.
Yeah, yeah.
He goes, what's all this other stuff? And I said, I don't know. He goes, what's the meaning behind it? And I said, I don't know. He goes, you've gone to Catholic school since kindergarten and you don't know? I go, I don't know. I go, I was just told that you make your first communion, you do your confirmation, you go to church. That's just that's what I was raised to know.
Were you offended at all by his reaction to that at first, or
no? Because
because you kind of felt the same.
Yeah, this whole time I'm thinking the same thing. So he was like, "Can we please try a Christian church?"
Okay.
And I told my mom, I'm like, "We're gonna go try a Christian church," and she's like, "What?"
Yeah.
I'm like, She was
upset by it.
I don't think she was upset. She was just kind of taken back, like why? Like, you've gone to the Catholic Church your whole life.
Right.
Well, yeah, but it means nothing to me because I don't understand it, and absolutely boring. I can't relate to anything that they're talking about.
Right.
Like, yeah, they're talking to me about what's in the Bible, but what does that mean?
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
Right.
So we went to a Christian church.
Okay. You just picked one?
No,
or did you know somebody who was going there, or?
No, Patrick had gone to the to Pacific Christian Church before, so he was like, let me bring you to where I go.
Sure,
and I said, sure.
Okay.
I'll try it out.
Yeah.
The kids went to Sunday school. They loved it.
Okay.
They were doing their arts and crafts and all that fun stuff, and we went to church, and I left and I thought, now this is church.
Okay, so you had a good reaction to it.
Yes,
Okay.
I was like, wow, like they have a great band.
Right.
Like you walk in and the pastor's just, he's cool, he's hip. I can understand what he's talking about. And as he's reading the verses from the Bible, he reads 2 verses and stops. And then puts it into real life, like a real life analogy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, so I've heard that verse before. Didn't know what it meant.
Right.
But this I get.
Right.
This is what I need.
Right.
I need somebody to break it down for me and put it into real life terms.
Sure. That's what a pastor's supposed to do.
Correct.
That's his job.
But all those years,
right,
I didn't know.
Right. Yeah.
Had not a clue.
Yeah, exactly.
Had not a clue. Now, I'm not going to say I go to church every Sunday because I don't.
Right.
But I don't think to be a Christian you have to go to church.
No.
Every Sunday.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean,
yeah.
There's times where Pat's like, I think we need to go to church this Sunday. Like,
right.
It'll all do us some good to get back to that.
Yeah.
But I didn't force my kids growing up to go to church.
Right.
Because I felt like I was so forced in going to church.
Right.
And being of the Catholic religion, like that's what you did.
Right.
So I've introduced it to my kids.
Okay.
And we all pray. We all talk about God.
Sure.
Brighton, he believes in God.
Yeah.
He prays.
Sure.
He's religious.
Sure.
Does he go to church? No.
Yeah. Right.
If he's picking between church and football on Sunday, he's watching football.
Right.
Absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
Patrick's very religious.
Okay.
Very, very religious.
Okay.
He doesn't get to church as much as he'd like because have sports pretty much every Sunday.
Right.
With Caden.
Exactly.
My daughter's very religious too.
Okay.
She started on the Napomo High School campus, like in the New Tech campus, because there's New Tech High School on the campus. She started like a Future Leaders of America type program, like a Christian club on that campus.
She started that?
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Yep. So she started that. She was the president of it.
Wow.
So she's very passionate about going to church.
And in Texas, is she a churchgoer?
When she moved there, that is the only thing that saved that girl for the first 4 months.
Okay.
Because you're leaving and going away from home.
Right.
You have nobody, no mom, no dad, no siblings, and
Yeah.
our family is super, super tight.
Right.
So you get taken out of that element and put in a different state.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, you just have to lean on your Christian faith.
Right.
Join the Christian club on Texas Tech's campus and make friends.
Yeah.
Go to Bible studies.
Yeah.
And go to church on Sundays. Fill your time with going to church, and she really tapped into that. So I've introduced it to my kids, wherever they take it.
Right.
Is on them.
Yeah.
But I don't want to force it on them.
Right. But would you be disappointed if like one of your kids was, say, an atheist?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I know none of them are because, I mean, even Caden, Caden loves going to church.
Okay. Are you guys going to PC still? Is that where you guys go when you do go?
Yep, when we do go, that's where we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends over there.
Yeah. And then like my cousin Claire, you've met Claire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She, I mean, again, she's grown up Catholic.
Yeah.
She still goes to the Catholic church because her parents, are Catholic. But there's times where, I'm taking Caden to his baseball game, and Pat says, I want to catch church this morning. I'm going to see if Claire wants to go with me. And she'll go to PC with Patrick, and she loves it.
Okay.
So she'll do both,
Right.
But I just think it's a different view and a different way to approach the Christian,
sure,
the Christian religion.
Yes, yeah, because Catholics would say that it's considered a Christian religion.
Correct.
Right. It's just there's Protestants and Catholics, right?
Correct.
And then within Protestantism, there's like a million different denominations: Presbyterian, Methodist, Baptist, right?
Correct.
Charismatic or whatever, Pentecostal. Like there's all the gamut. You got your Baptists are kind of reserved. You go to a Baptist service, it's pretty much just studying the Bible. It's very conservative, kind of, and then where you go like a Pentecostal, you got people hooting and hollering, running up the aisles and pretending to be. I mean, if you go to the far side of it, they're like, "Oh, God made me a chicken today, so I'm going to worship the Lord by clucking." And it's like,
what the heck is going on?
And I'm like, and of course, whenever you watch a movie, that's always the kind of Christian they choose to portray, because it makes us all look like a bunch of psychos, and it's like, oh my gosh. Okay, well that's cool. So I didn't know that. I didn't even know that you were guys. I didn't even know Pat was a churchgoer, to be honest with you. Like all the time that I knew him back in the day, because we first met at Lakeview. Like I was in 8th grade, he was in 7th grade in shop class. That's the first time that's my first memory of him. But then we worked at Arnaldi's, then we worked at the ranch, and I got to know. But even through all of that, but of course I wasn't a believer then myself. So
correct.
I actually became a Christian at the ranch. That's when I got saved, was out there, which is weird because I wasn't, I always hated Christians. I wanted nothing to do with them. And then I became one. So it's like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
So do you see any kind of distinction like between, like we talk a lot about like believing in God. Like that's kind of a big question someone might ask. Well, do you believe in God? And for a lot of people, the answer is yes, especially in America. There's a lot of, most people would say they believe in some kind of God. I think the atheist population is a minority. It's not real big, even agnostic. So do you see a difference between believing in God and being a Christian? Or do you think they're like hand in hand?
I think it goes hand in hand.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a firm believer that if you believe in God, you are going to do your work through him.
Okay.
And that's part of being a Christian. You have to give. You have to do good. And for me, I'm a firm believer, and I tell my kids all the time, you have to give to receive. Giving that should be like on your top priority. What can I do to give to somebody today?
Right. Putting others above yourself.
Always.
Yeah.
Because if you're putting yourself first, it's not going to get you anywhere.
Right.
And so, being a Christian, it's about giving. It's about putting others first and doing your work through God. And it could be little things. I'm not saying you have to change the world, but if you see somebody like if I'm at the grocery store and there's somebody in front of me and they're short money, I got it.
Yeah.
I got you, because guess what? I can do that, and I can give you that. And if that makes one little different impact in that person's day, so be it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So be it. If somebody comes into the restaurant, and they order a salad, for instance,
right,
and they're like, you know what, my card didn't go through. I've had people, their card doesn't go through.
Yeah.
$14,
right.
Take it.
Yeah.
Just remember, just take it, but remember to give back to somebody else when you can.
Right.
And I tell my kids that all the time.
Pay it forward kind of thing.
Pay it forward.
Yeah.
Because that you're doing your work through Christ. And that's part of being a Christian.
Sure.
So yes, I think believing in God and being a Christian, it goes hand in hand.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But do you think there's anybody that would answer the question, yes, I believe in God, but then also say I'm not a Christian? Like I don't believe in the Bible, I don't believe in Jesus, I just believe in God, kind of just as this generic term of, right? Because like a Hindu will tell you they believe in God and they'll say his name is Krishna.
Yeah.
Or a Buddhist, Buddhists are atheists. But I mean, like, some of the other religions will say, yes, I believe in God, and here's his name, and here's what he's like. Right? But then that description of God may be totally different than your description of God from the Christian perspective.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then, like, as far as like atheists, like I know a lot of atheists who would even do what you're talking about. like they would be the same way. They're very selfless, and they would be like, oh, I'll go take this guy out to lunch. I'll buy him food, or if I'm at the grocery store, like you said, and this guy is struggling to pay for a loaf of bread or whatever, it's like, hey, I'll buy that bread for you, and I'll fill up your fridge with groceries. You know, so I think we both agree that like there's people that don't even have a belief in God that are capable of doing fantastically wonderful things for other people. So that's not really like I understand I agree with what you're saying. Like that is definitely a part of following Christ because he wants us to do those things. But like if I'm talking to an atheist, they'd be like, yeah, but I don't need Jesus for that. I can be a good person without Jesus, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue against that.
Right.
I'm not going to argue against that.
Right.
But I also think at the same time that Jesus is doing his work through them.
Through an atheist.
Yeah,
I would agree.
And they but they don't see it that way.
And
so
I
I can argue that, you know, but that's because that's my belief.
Right. No, and I would agree. And there's kind of like I don't know, maybe a wicked little part of me that's kind of like, I kind of think that's cool. Yeah. That this guy says there is no God, yet God's using him anyway.
Correct.
Love it.
Because God loves all.
Right.
He loves all. Yeah. And he doesn't judge. Right. And that's my argument.
Okay.
With that.
So you don't believe that God judges, or no?
No.
Not at all?
I think God. No, I don't think he does. I think that he he's going to forgive you for your sins. I don't think that he's going to sit there and judge you and crucify you.
Right.
So no, I don't.
Yeah. Well, like when you read like the Old Testament and you see like stories like Sodom and Gomorrah, where he literally destroys the whole city. That's obviously some form of judgment on them, right? Because of their wickedness, I think is what the Bible says. But I think if they were to ask for forgiveness, I think he would grant them forgiveness. But I guess
but I don't think that God's sitting there going like, I don't think he's judging them. I think that he's how do I put this? Like
punishing them for their actions, or
no, I don't think. I mean, I know that he's going, okay, like this isn't right. But he's trying to find the good in it to forgive them for the actions that they're doing. Right. I mean, because at the end of the day, like we all sin.
Oh, of course.
But I don't think that he's up there going like, oh, look at you, like what, like why would you do that?
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, he's not surprised, right? He knows everything.
All.
Yes,
he knows all.
It's not like when I do something stupid or I commit an act of sin. It's not like he's like, Ryan, I'm so disappointed in you.
Correct.
It's like he saw that coming a mile away, even if I didn't see it coming a mile away. Right.
But I think he's going, okay, you've learned from this. Like I'm forgiving you. Like we're moving on. Like let's go.
Right. So do you think God has like standards, like things that, like you kind of just said it, but like do you think he has these things are right and good, these things are wrong and evil? Do you think he has that kind of standard, or does he just kind of like everything goes?
No, I mean that's where the 10 Commandments come in. I think.
Oh, for sure.
So I think there are standards. Okay. Absolutely.
Things like murder is wrong.
Correct. Okay. I don't know. There are standards. Yeah. And those are the things that you need to try to live by. Right. But I don't think that if you veer off of those, he's like condemning you. Okay. But yes, I definitely think there are standards. Okay. Absolutely.
So what if there's like somebody who like is a serial killer, let's say, and he's committed all these horrible acts of murder and torture and whatever. It's just a horrible human being, right? And at least from a human standpoint, and he asked for forgiveness, let's say at the end of his life or whatever, whenever, at any point in his life. Let's say he's killed 30 people, and like not in self-defense, not in anything. Correct. He literally set out and premeditated and murdered 30 people. Would you say there's forgiveness for that guy?
Yes.
Okay.
If he is truly
repentant,
yes. Okay. Like if he, and only between him and God are going to know that,
of course,
right?
Of course.
So if he asks to be saved and is truly like I know I did wrong.
Right.
I know I did wrong. I'm paying for these crimes, for these punishments.
Like if he's in jail.
Yes.
Okay.
I absolutely. I think that.
Okay.
Absolutely. But if he's just like, oh, sorry, I did this. Like, can I please be forgiven? And like, no.
Or what about if he even doesn't even say any of that? What if he's just like, yeah, I did it. I'm glad I did it. I'll do it again. I think it's fantastic. I had so much fun killing those people that, if you let me out of this jail, I'm going to kill 30 more people.
Well, no, he's not asking for forgiveness at that point. So he's just admitting that he did that. Right. No, I don't.
So for him, you'd say there's no forgiveness because he's not asking for forgiveness.
Correct. You got it. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's open to anybody who asks, regardless of what crimes they've committed.
Absolutely.
So for the guy who doesn't ask for forgiveness and still feels justified in what he did, is there judgment for him? Is there any kind of punishment for him, or is he get off the same as somebody like you who's never murdered anybody? At least I don't think you've murdered anybody. No. Okay. I guess I should ask you that first. You're like, well, actually, Ryan.
This one time now. Well, say while he's alive, he doesn't ask for forgiveness and he dies in jail.
Okay.
At that point in time, when his soul goes to heaven, I don't know what's happening between him and God.
Okay.
If he, at that point in time, is when he goes to heaven. Okay. If he's standing at the gates of the Lord and the Lord's standing there and he's asking for forgiveness at that point in time.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure Jesus isn't going to turn anybody away that's like asking for forgiveness.
Right.
But if he gets up there and he's like, I did that and I don't give a crap. Well, you're going to hell, buddy. Okay. Like, adios. Bye.
Okay. So you do believe in a heaven and a hell?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But I think that, again, the people that are truly like asking for forgiveness, yes. God's not going to turn you away.
No, and I would agree with that for sure. I think that's definitely a Christian teaching, but there are some Christians that I know that have a hard time. I always bring up Jeffrey Dahmer as an example because the story is that he supposedly became a Christian in jail before he died in jail. And I know a lot of Christians that would say, no, I'm not okay with that. I do not want to be. They've even said things like, if Jeffrey Dahmer's in heaven, I don't want to be there.
Yeah,
because they're like, that guy is such a miserable, wretched piece of crap of all the things he did that I don't want to believe in a God that would forgive him for those horrendous things he did. And I'm like, then you don't believe in the right God, because yes, he's probably done worse things than most people ever will, but you've been forgiven for your sins. Yeah, they're not murder. It's not rape necessarily, but it's other things.
They're still sins.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just think that's kind of like a high and mighty kind of like self-righteous kind of view of things, where we take certain sins and we put them above others, and they are above others in severity as far as
absolutely.
I'm like, I would rather have somebody lie to me than kill me.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
correct.
But they're both sin.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And they both need forgiveness. And it's like if the Bible's true. Let me ask you about the Bible real quick before I even go into that little part. So you believe in a heaven and hell, which we just established. What are your thoughts on the Bible? Do you think it's all true, part true? I'm guessing you're not a none of it's true kind of person, because some of the things you've been saying are very obviously from that book. So.
I believe in certain parts of the Bible. I'm not going to sit here and say I've read the Bible from cover to cover.
Right.
Again, because I don't understand a lot of it.
Sure.
And my girlfriend, one of my best friends, bought me a Bible that has like the little cliff notes on the side.
Oh yeah, like a study Bible.
So so I can read it, but do I understand it? And just because I read the Bible doesn't mean like it makes me any better than anybody else if you don't understand what's going on in the darn Bible.
Sure.
So I can't say I've read it from cover to cover. But yes, I believe in certain parts of the Bible. Yes. And others I question because again, I don't fully understand a lot to in it.
Sure. It's one of the hardest things to study. There's guys that spend 100 years studying it and get to the end of their life and they're still like, there's still parts I don't understand.
So like I said, I have to work through it with my little cliff notes that explain things to me.
Right.
But I think that's normal.
Sure.
I don't think a lot of people
absolutely.
can articulate it.
Right. Well, that's why they make study Bibles like that, because it's nice to be able to go down and see what a commentator has said, or a pastor, or whoever he is, a teacher has said, oh, this is what this verse is meaning, and that kind of thing. Do you, off the top of your head, are there any things that you can think of that you struggle with, that you would read and go, oh, I don't like that, or it's hard for me to believe that, or I'm not sure about that one?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I mean, one topic that I do struggle with is like reincarnation. I mean, I know a lot of people, that's a big, like people talk about it all the time.
Right. But that's not in the Bible.
No, it's not in the Bible.
Right.
But people do talk about that, and I'm like,
oh, sure. So you're kind of like, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, kind of thing?
I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't think it is. I think that there's signs.
Sure.
That, like, you know, like when I see a hummingbird, it reminds me of my grandmother. And I always think like, oh, like. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think that my grandmother's
is in the hummingbird. Right.
No, that's
well, I mean,
not
that could be the Lord just giving you a little love in the sense of a hummingbird.
Correct.
I know this is going to make Jen think of her grandma.
Correct.
So here you go. You know, and he does that to you out of his love for you, just to show that, you know, so.
Correct. But I don't think that,
You don't think she's literally the hummingbird?
No. No. But I'll be like, oh, there's a hummingbird, or like somebody has a feeder, like, oh, look at the hummingbird feeder. Like when we bought our house, it was crazy because there was hummingbird feeders out there. Okay. Like, and the people that moved, like, left them
like
there.
with nectar still in them? Oh, nice.
And so the hummingbirds would come, and so I would be like, oh, look, like hummingbirds. Yeah. Because I have a hummingbird tattoo on me. Oh, okay. In remembrance of my grandmother.
Did your grandma love hummingbirds? Is that why? Okay.
Yep. And so I was like, oh, well, that's cool, you know, but no, I don't think my grandmother's hummingbird out there, like, feeding off of the feeder.
Right. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Because I might have to call the loony bin on you too.
But yeah, I can't sit there and like right now off of the top of my head and go like something through the Bible that like I don't.
Right.
Like I just can't wrap my head around.
Sure. Yeah. Or I mean, I know there's a lot of to me, like I went through. Because like I told you a little bit about like I hated Christianity, I hated it, and one of the main reasons I hated it because I always kind of believed in God. I was never an atheist, but the reason I hated Christianity so much is because it was in my mind, it was narrow-minded. It was the only religion I could think of where its followers said, "No, this is the only way." You know, all the other ones said, "Oh no, you believe whatever you want. You're a Christian. I'm a Jew. I'm a Muslim. I'm a Hindu. Whatever," and we're all headed to heaven in the end. We're all going to the same place. All roads lead to heaven, kind of thing. That was kind of my philosophy in life. And it was just like, I'm going to believe what I believe. Get out of my face. Yeah. Leave me alone with your Jesus is the only way garbage, you know? So, I mean, I know that after I came into that and I started studying, I started to realize this is why people have such a hard time with Christianity, because it's not inclusive. It's very exclusive, and it says you're either a Christian or you're not. And it doesn't mean that, you know, you hate people that aren't Christians, but it means that if you believe what Jesus said, it means that, I mean, he said, I'm the way and the truth and life. No one comes to the Father but through me. That means nobody. Yeah. So, I mean, you can be that atheist, like we're talking about, who does all these wonderful things. Great person, fantastic person, gets in. Are you a follower of Christ? Nope. See ya. Right? Yeah. That's harsh. Yeah. Right? That's hard to fathom. But I believe it's true because I believe the Bible's true, and I think it records what Jesus said, and records lots of things like that. You know, and there's things that people always throw out, and they'll say, "Oh, Christianity's pro-racism," or "What? Where are you getting that from?" And, "Oh, the Bible talks about slavery." It's like, yeah, but it's not like Kunta Kinte slavery. Like, correct. You know what I mean? Like, we're all in forms of slavery. You know, I have a job. I'm a slave to my employers. I mean, it's just the way it is, you know. But they'll say things like it hates homosexuality, or Christians hate homosexuality. I hate that kind of terms, you know, because it's like, it's two different things for somebody to ask me, well, Ryan, do you think homosexuality is sinful? Or, Ryan, do you hate homosexuals? Correct. That's two completely different questions. Correct. You know what I mean? And whenever I see like an interview where they'll have some secular magazine where they're interviewing a Christian guy, that's always what they try to get him to say. Like, you know, why, you know, Kirk Cameron, why do you hate homosexuals so much? whoa, what are you talking about, right? Like,
Yeah.
and they do it all over the place. They do it with Trump. That's the question they'll ask Trump. Trump, why are you racist? Wait a minute, your question assumes something about me that's not even true, right? It's like,
Correct.
wait a minute, let's establish the bounds. So, I mean, I guess I would ask you, like, when you hear Jesus say something like he's the only way, is that something that you grasp onto, or is that something that you're kind of like, I don't know about that one. That one's kind of difficult.
Well, I do, because I'm a Christian.
Right.
And I know no other way.
Sure.
Because I haven't studied other religions, and I don't choose to study other religions, and I don't choose to get to know why other religions are the way they are.
Right.
I just, like you said, I like Jesus is the light, he is the way. Like that's what I believe in. So that's what I know, and that's my belief.
Yeah.
So,
but to the point, like, if you had like a Hindu friend or a Muslim friend, or let's say, or something that was other than Christianity, I mean, a religion that had nothing to do with Jesus, really, and they were talking to you, and they said, you know, if I were to die today, where do you think I would end up? I mean, would you tell them, well, if you don't believe in Jesus, you're going to be in hell? Or is that too bold?
Too bold.
But would you tell them they'd be in heaven?
No.
Okay, you just kind of avoid the question, maybe?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would say, like, well, I would hope that by the time you, like, pass away, you would hopefully believe in Jesus, so you do get to heaven.
Okay.
But again, that's my belief.
Sure. Right.
You know, I can't tell them that their religion's wrong. I can't tell them, I mean... I don't even talk religion.
Right. Yeah.
I don't talk religion. I don't talk politics.
Yeah.
Me, I'm
bringing it out of you today.
I know. I'm just, you know, people are good people if they do good.
Sure.
Like I'm friends with you. I'm all good with you.
Right.
I don't care what religion you are. Where your political standpoint is.
Right. And that's what I've learned over the years too, is like when I first became a Christian, I was on fire about it. I was like talking to everybody all the time. And I kind of got to the point where my approach now is like, if people ask me about it, I have no problem sharing.
Correct.
And I have no problem being honest. Like if I had a Muslim friend and they said, Ryan, you know, be honest with me. In your beliefs, if I was to die today, would I be in hell? I'd say, well, yeah. Because you're not a Christian, and I always preface it by saying if like hypothetically, if what Jesus said is true, and if the Bible is true, then yes.
And see, and I think that's where I'd be if somebody asked me. I would absolutely give my 2 cents. Right. But I'm not going to come out and be like, oh, well, you're a Muslim, so you're going to hell when you die. Like, I'm not, I'm just...
You're not going to be standing in the corner with a bullhorn saying, repent!
Yes, that's just not me.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I am blunt about some things.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah.
That's not going to be one of them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get it.
That's not it.
Well, it's a hard thing. I mean, because it's definitely going to cause some kind of division.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like that's something that will divide people really quickly, because it's not easy to hear that. You know, if you have a best friend, they're like, my best friend thinks I'm going to hell. Yeah. Because they're thinking I'm a good person. What are you talking about? I've never killed anybody. I've never raped anybody. I've never done anything like that.
So why do they think
exactly
that?
Right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of a heavy hitter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I try to steer away from those topics. I like peace.
Yeah,
I like peace.
Sure. Yeah. So I usually only talk when people ask, but I'm here. It's fun because, you know, this is what this is about.
Absolutely.
Just kind of ask people where they're coming from and, what do you believe, you know? So what about something like, we talked about standards, that God has standards and things like morality. I like to talk about morality because, like, people will say things like, well, atheists have morality, which is true, right? Because we're just talking about people that are great people, wonderful people, fantastic. I know atheists that I think are better people than some Christians I know. Right? I mean, and I think we can all say that. It's just the way it is. But one of the arguments that can be made against an atheist is, like, why do you have morality? Like, where does that, if there is no God and there are no standards, then why is it wrong to murder someone? Right? And they'll say, well, it just is. Well, what do you mean? It says who?
Yeah.
Right? Says who, right? If there's no God, who's saying it's wrong to murder? If we're all just like like evolutionary bags of cells that are just banging into each other throughout the world, then who cares if I kill one of those bags of cells? Who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's an interesting discussion to have. So, I mean, so what are your views on morality? I guess because I know you're not an atheist, so I'm not posing that question to you, of course, but.
Well, yeah, but I would hope no matter what religion you are,
right,
people
don't kill each other.
I mean, there's times where I'm like, God, I could kill that person.
Sure.
No, am I really going to go do that?
Right.
No.
Yeah. I would hope not. Yeah.
But me even thinking that or saying that, like,
sure,
that's awful.
Right.
But so I would hope no matter what religion they are, whether there's guidelines or not, most people have those morals to not go kill somebody.
Sure. Except the people that do it. But even them, they might have the morals. They're just going against that.
Correct.
You know,
but they just have something completely wrong with them.
It's the people that like don't seem to have that morality that baffle me. Like most of the time, like I said, it was a lot of true crime. Most of the time, those people are remorseful. They admit what they did. They tell the story. But every once in a while, you see an interview with some guy, and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy is literally like Satan. Like he's like he has no remorse. He's glad he did it, and that boggles my mind because I'm like, where in the world? Like, how can you be that way? Like, you know,
I can't even wrap my brain around that.
Right.
I don't even know like how you could do something so heinous and still eat and sleep and just go about your day, your life.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even explain that. I don't even know how. I don't even know where that comes from.
Right.
Because I don't.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I can barely smash a bug.
Right. Me too.
Like,
I always I'm a relocator myself. Like I'll that's why the kids and Bethany always call me. There's a spider. I have a big yellow cup over there. It's a Dickies cup. Remember Dickies? Used to be over here. So we've had that cup forever because they've been closed for a long time. But that's my spider catching cup. Yeah. So I'll go wherever in the house the spider is. I'll pick him up. I'll go put him outside. Which of course he probably just gets right back in the next couple of days. You know.
I'm usually like, Pat, Brighton, somebody come do something with this because I'm not gonna kill it.
Right.
But so I can't even wrap my mind around that.
Right.
I can't.
I can't either.
So.
Yeah, I can't even. I've even said before, if I killed somebody in self-defense.
Oh, I would be a wreck.
I would be a wreck. I would feel justified. Like I was protecting my family. Like the scenario I usually use of like someone's climbing into my daughter's window and his intentions are to rape and kill my daughter.
Oh, you're going to take him down.
I'm going to take him out. If I have a gun or some way to kill him, I'm killing him.
But you're going to be a wreck the rest of your life.
Just to know that I took the life of another person.
Correct.
Yeah. Even in self-defense. So the fact that people can premeditatedly
do something
do that and then be unremorseful. Nuts. Yeah. So that being said, do you believe in a devil or a Satan, or do you think that's a real being, or like in the same way that God is a real being?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because I think that's where heaven and hell come in. So yes, I think that there is the devil in people.
Okay.
But again, at the end of the day, if they're remorseful and they ask for forgiveness, they're going to be saved.
Yes. Oh, I'm with you completely.
So yes, I do believe that. Yes, I do believe in Satan and the devil.
Okay.
But I don't take it to like a whole new level. Like Pat's like, this song is about worshiping the devil. I'm like, turn this, and I'm like, how, like, oh my gosh, I'm like, how do you even get that from this? And but he like reads into things way more than I do. Yeah. Again, head buried into the sand. I'm like, the beat's really good. I really like this. He's like, turn it. We're not listening to this.
Well, which song? Do you know which song? Boy, that'd be interesting.
What's the one? I'll tell you right now. It's a newer song.
Okay.
And he just Paint the Town Red by Doja Cat.
Oh, okay. I've heard of Doja Cat, but never.
Correct.
She's a rapper, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But if you listen to that song, Paint the Town Red, it's very catchy.
Yeah.
It comes on in the car, it's turned immediately.
But are the lyrics satanic, or is he just?
I'd have to like fully read into them because I don't know the whole song.
Right.
The beat's real good.
Yeah.
And then there's just like one part of the chorus that's pretty catchy, but I'd have to like full on read the lyrics.
Yeah.
But he digs way into that stuff.
That's interesting.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's interesting that he's that way. I never knew that about him.
Oh my gosh. Talk to him about the Illuminati and
he goes that route. Okay.
Like deep.
Yeah.
Deep.
I'll have to show him. There's a rapper. I've showed him to Brighton. Tom McDonald. Have you ever heard Tom McDonald? He's kind of infamous, I guess I would say.
Okay.
I mean, he's famous, but he's controversial.
Okay.
So he's conservative in a lot of his rap, which is kind of unheard of in the hip hop world. But he talks a lot about that. Like he even has a song called "Clone Rappers," where he's like, none of these rappers are even real. They're not even making their albums anymore. It's all like clone. Like he's got some crazy kind of conspiracy theorist stuff. But then he talks a lot about conservatism and like woke. You know what woke means? Like kind of the woke people. You never heard that term? It's like. It's like it's hard to explain, but I mean it's basically this as we're going in politics and this kind of thing with like all the agendas that are being pushed, like the idea that whatever you believe is true, you know, the transgenderism or a lot of the idea that America is systemically racist and, you know, and everybody in America is racist. Every white person is racist. Like those kind of ideas, that comes from what they call like a woke.
Okay.
Those people are called woke. Okay. And I think I don't know where the term came from. It's almost like, you know, we've awakened. We can see the truth that's out there that the rest of the world can't see. We can see that every white person's racist. It's like, you now? Okay, you know, because I have friends of every kind of thing you can think of, you know. But anyway, he talks a lot about that kind of thing, and but anyway, I'll have to show him to Pat. That's my point. I bet he'll probably dig him, especially because he likes hip hop and stuff.
Oh yeah. But yes, Pat reads way into that. Okay. To where I'm like. Yeah. I gotta live my life, dude.
Right.
I gotta live my life. I can't I can't have that consume me because there's times where it consumes him.
Right.
Like. Yeah. Bad, and so I'm like, just. Yeah. Stop reading.
Well, that's why I don't go down that road. You like the Illuminati, and I mean, because I have some friends that are really into that, and they're just like, "Oh, look at this! Beyonce flashed this symbol in her show, and she's Illuminati, and Jay-Z's part of it, and
and then Rihanna, and he's like, Pat. Oh,
yeah. It's just like
I didn't see that. I'm sorry.
Right,
if I live my life like that, like I would just be.
You'd be seeing it everywhere, right?
Yeah, I'd be a rat. Like, that's crazy and insane to me. Like,
yeah, I'm with you. Because, like I said in the beginning of this, I'm an evidence-based person. So if someone makes that claim, says, "Oh, Beyonce made this sign or whatever, and it's a sign of the Illuminati," I'd be like, "Where's the evidence?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a claim, and usually with conspiracy stuff, it's like, "Oh, well, that's no. Oh, well, my brother's cousin's girl, you know, whatever." And it's like, "Oh, there's no actual evidence." It's always like, "Well, come on, Ryan, you got to read between the lines." No, I don't read between the lines. It's either there or it isn't.
It's
Maybe you're
black
right.
Or white.
Yeah, it's black or white, and there's a whole area where I'm like, I don't know.
That's
like I won't say that Beyonce's not a part of the Illuminati. I don't know that, but I'm not going to say she is either unless there's solid evidence either way, you know. Otherwise, it's just me coming off the top of my head and saying crazy things.
Correct.
So it's whatever, you know.
That's where I'm at too. It's crazy to me.
Yeah. So.
But yes, a song will come on. He's like, "We gotta change this because it's Beyonce," or we gotta. I'm like, Pat.
Yeah. Yeah. Brighton rocks Beyonce at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And Rihanna.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear a lot of that new stuff too. Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, it's good stuff.
Yes.
But I mean, for me, like, as far as I won't listen to a song that if the lyrics are like like actual satanic lyrics.
Correct.
Like if the lyrics like, "I worship Satan and I sacrifice animals," and it's like no, I'm not going to fill my head with that stuff.
Correct.
But I mean, to me, everybody in Hollywood, not everybody, but I mean, a big portion of Hollywood is evil.
Correct.
Because it's not like they're Christians.
Correct.
You know what I mean? What do I expect from Hollywood? It's like I expect Christian values coming out of Hollywood. No, this is the epicenter of the opposite of Christian values. This is where every other thing in the book is like, celebrated, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
All the
Drugs,
movies,
alcohol, sex with whoever you want, whenever you want, all this stuff. It's like, that's not Jesus, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just nuts. I try not to.
All the movies, the shows, and the music come out of there are all about everything that's wrong.
Yeah. Right.
All of it.
Right. And it's all celebrated. You know, like, oh, this is great. This is fantastic.
And they make millions off of it.
Of course they do. That's what people say. When are they going to stop making these movies? This is like this 10th sequel, I say, when they stop making money.
When they stop making money.
Right.
Correct.
If you want them to stop going to see it.
Correct.
That's
stop
kind
buying
of the
the music,
thing,
stop going to the movies, stop going to the concerts.
Right.
Stop it.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, that's it.
Perfect.
That was easy, right?
Absolutely.
Unless you got anything else you wanna add?
No.
Anything you want to say? No.
Nope. Not that I can think of.
No. You want to plug your businesses? So
yes, go support Ricky's House of Pizza, Lovey's Deli, and Second Affair.
There it is. All right, now it's out there for all 40 of my listeners.
Yes. I expect my sales to go through the roof now.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments for me, you can email me at whycan'twetalaboutThat@proton.me. And if you haven't yet, please join the Why Can't We Talk About That podcast Facebook group. Leave a review wherever you are listening to this from. This will help more people find the podcast. Thanks. I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas. Here's a clip from the next episode.
But also, like, there are some things that, like, come up where it's like, am I qualified to vote for this? Or it's just like, am I, like, with the kidney center thing, do you remember that from, like, either last year or 2 years ago, where it was, like, kidney dialysis centers? So, like, truly, like, and I'm going to get it wrong because I don't remember, like, I think the proposition was that every kidney dialysis center has to have, like, a certified nurse working there.
Okay.
But then there was, like, a lot of financing for against it, where they're like, this isn't needed, it's going to cost a lot more money than we need. And I'm like, I don't think I'm the right person to make this decision. Like, I know nothing about kidney dialysis. I don't know about, like, what these centers actually need.
Yes.
Do you need a certified nurse there?
Right.
It seems like you should, but also if, like, people working there say that you don't, and it makes it a lot more accessible for people who need it.
Right.
It's like, isn't there, like, a surgeon general that can like figure this out?
Yes.
Like, why do I have to vote on it?
Right.